For some, it's a place for penguins, seals, beautiful beaches and the scenic coastline. For others, it's the spiritual home of motorcycle racing in Australia. 4.45 kilometres of undulating twists and turns. This is the world-renowned Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. As we ride into the penultimate round, spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Thank you very much for joining our coverage. Emma Francesco here with you, and we're very excited to be bringing you 3 big races for 3 completely different categories here today. Of course, the big one is Kawasaki Superbike, and last time out, it was another thrilling chapter in the battle for that championship. Mike Jones took one win, Wayne Maxwell took the other, and here is what the points look like coming into this round, round 6. Mike Jones in first position, only 11.5 points over Crew Halliday from the Yamaha racing team, and Brian Starring is sitting in third position. But anything can happen in a day. Anything can happen at the island, boys. It is very windy down here, but at least the sun is shining. Hello, good afternoon to you both, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Thank you very much, Emma. Yeah, great to be here at the home of Australian motorcycling, Phillip Island. As you mentioned, it is round 6 of the 2019 championship. The spokes.com.au presented round at Phillip Island. 1 round to go after this, Steve Martin, but this is a magnificent circuit. All of the riders anywhere in the world love it, and you've ridden around here more times than many. Yeah, absolutely. It's 4.45 kilometres of magic, starting off with an over 200 kilometre turn 1, then into the Southern Loop Suzuki corner there, 120 k's, double apex down there. You get a little bit squirrely down the straight, and then through the 270 kilometre an hour Kawasaki corner, hard on the picks into YMI. Watch out for overtaking into there. Things can certainly get interesting, especially in the last couple of laps. It's a short burst through the MA, second gear, then into Siberia, the YMF turn, 90 kilometres an hour. Out of there, bikes get moving all over the place as you start to click through the gears up into fourth gear into the Hayshed corner. That Hayshed corner, the KTM corner, just need to keep it on the tarmac. Pretty easy to run off the track there. And then there's the blind left uphill, fourth gear turn they call YMI. You've got to be careful there too. One of the last overtaking spots in this track is down into Pirelli. You'll be using the front grip of those Pirellis into that one, definitely, especially on the last laps. 11, we've seen the odd high side out of there. Third gear, the bike's moving around, wheeling out of there in the slipstream. But turn 12, one of the fastest corners and hardest corners on tyres in the world here at Phillip Island, will give you the drive down the straight and to get to that elusive finish line first, Phil. It is one of the meccas of motorsport anywhere in the world, and a brilliant track. Well, Mike Jones in qualifying set the world on fire with the fastest ever qualifying lap in the Australian Superbike Championship. A sub 1 minute 32 lap, a 1 minute 31.995. He once again took the pole position award and the $500 from Elite Roads that goes with it. The 4th time this year that Mike Jones on the Desmo Sport Ducati has taken that award. In 2nd place was Wayne Maxwell, and in 3rd place, starting from the front row of the grid, was Matt Walters. But it was a great start from the front row of the grid from Mike Jones, who led the field away down in towards turn 1. But it wasn't long until Wayne Maxwell, who started on that front row of the grid, had made his way past and then pinned the ears back, Steve Martin, and just set sail. Yeah, absolutely. I think Mike Jones thought this is a great start, but then Wayne Maxwell came flying around the outside of him, and I tell you what, Maxwell was on the limit. Look at Matty Walters there, the privateer Kawasaki rider who qualified on the front row of the grid, doing a brilliant job mixing it up with the factory boys. But meanwhile, back out front, Maxwell was having a race of his own. By the end of the first lap, Wayne Maxwell had a 1-second lead over the rest of the field. Troy Herfoss was all over the back of Mike Jones on the Ducati. The Ducati is fast in a straight line. The Honda has a sweet handling chassis, and both of those riders were using the attributes of their motorcycles to try and keep themselves ahead of a marauding pack. Matt Walters, Crew Halliday, Daniel Falzon, Josh Waters, they were all in on the action in that freight train that was right behind our race leader, Wayne Maxwell. Yeah, keep an eye on Josh Waters at the back of the pack there on the number 20 machine, because he would make his way forward too. But Matty Walters, once again, what a brilliant job from him. Crew Halliday was another one who needed to get good points, and he started to work his way towards Mike Jones and Troy Herfoss. But have you ever seen Herfoss ride as good as this around Phillip Island? He's been riding magnificently all weekend, but also he said in the post-race interview it was the headwind that was meaning that the bikes were changing around a fair bit, and all of a sudden that the Honda could say somewhere near the Ducati in a straight line. You saw Jones there just shoehorn the Desmo Sport Ducati 1299 Final Edition Panigale up the inside of the Penrite Honda CBR 1000 RR Fireblade, but lurking in the shadows was Josh Waters on board bike number 21, and he made a last-minute charge towards the podium.
Absolutely, he hasn't had a podium this year. Tried to dive up the inside into that YMF corner turn one, but then this happened, and it was Troy Herfoss who nipped up the inside of Pirelli corner there, cut the nose off of Mike Jones, and then he had to try and hang on, not for the win, because let's remember that Wayne Maxwell's already up the road, but one of the few podiums that man's had at Phillip Island, and it was Wayne Maxwell who won the race with Troy Herfoss in second, but there goes Wayne over the line.
Herfoss rode turn 12 harder than I think he's ever ridden it before to stay ahead of the very fast Desmo Sport Ducati and take second place. But congratulations to that man, Wayne Maxwell. He has won 3 of the last 5 races in the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Let's go down to M.
Thank you very much, Phil. Harlan thought I'd catch up with Troy Bayliss because it is the Desmo Sport Ducati team leading this championship at the moment. Now, Mike didn't get that win at the start, but consistency has been key for him. Fantastic 2019 season, and he is still leading that championship going into race 2.
Yes, Emma. Mike's been great all year, and obviously we were pole position yesterday. We were thinking we were going to have a great, hope for a couple of wins today, but like this wind has really changed things around, and I think we suffered a little bit more than we thought we were going to in that race 1 win. In all that wind, but Wayne got off to such a good start, and third position was still a good spot to finish in, and it's a very important round this weekend, and we hope to have a good one this afternoon.
You've been around this paddock for a long time. I mean, how tight is this championship for 2019? I think it's the closest battle we've ever seen.
Yeah, it's incredible. By the time we come around to Sydney Motorsport Park, I think the top 4 guys, it could come down to any of those guys. So it's certainly really, really interesting and exciting for everybody involved, that's for sure.
We were really excited at the start of the weekend because we saw that you were going on a bike. We thought you were going to race, but how did you go having fun about cutting some laps on Friday and Saturday?
Yeah, obviously I'm going to race the V4R down here at the support race at the GP, so it was good to get a handful of laps on the bike, but in reality, it was very important for us to get our heads together and do everything we can for Mike to, give you the best chances in this year's championship. So, I got a few laps in, but that was that, and we're full steam ahead.
Just quickly, I mean, Mike did have big shoes to fill taking over from you at the start of the year. What would it mean to you guys for him to win this championship for 2019?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're all trying all so hard, and Mike is obviously as well, and it'd be great for everybody involved with the Desmo Sport Ducati team, and it's been a long time. Well, since Steve Martin won on the Ducati back in maybe 1990.
Don't get it wrong.
1990, I'm going to say 1999 it was, yeah, I think. So,
I just made that up, by the way, but we'll have to check in with him on that.
It would be lovely to do it, that's for sure. But it's been a great year, and we've been at the front, a lot, so it's great.
Thanks, Troy. Good luck for race 2.
Thanks, Emma. Cheers.
All right, well, an action-packed day of racing ahead of you as we take a look at the schedule. It starts with the final race of YMI Supersport 300, race number 2 for Kawasaki Supersport, and the final race of the Motorsports TV Supersport will wrap up the day. Cannot wait for an action-packed day ahead of us. Who will go into this final round leading the Kawasaki Superbike Championship? We're not too far away from finding out. Over to you, boys.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. For the Spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Getting ready for the first race on today's program for the YMI Supersport 300 class. The riders are heading off on their final sighting and warm-up lap. Steve Martin, this weekend we have seen two absolute classic races for the YMI Supersport 300 class. This last race of the weekend is sure to be a doozy, but we are getting to the pointy end of the season. The championship this weekend has closed up. Max Stouffer came in with a 39-point championship lead. That's been whittled down this weekend. Yeah,
it certainly has, but that just shows you how classy the field is out there. I mean, you're not going to see a runaway winner in this one. That's something that we can definitely guarantee. We're going to see 10, 15 bikes all together when it comes to the last lap. So it's going to be an absolute cracker of a race that we're going to be looking forward to here, Phil. And the other good thing is all the brands of bikes on the field, the KTMs, the Kawasaki's and the Yamahas are all pretty even out there at the moment. So you can be assured that whatever brand's the favourite brand you've got, it will be up there in some way or another.
Max Stouffer now leads the championship by 24 points over Senna Agis, Hunter Ford in third place and Seth Crump in fourth. Seth Crump has made a big return to the front of the field, and he will start back there on the second row of the grid. But your pole position man is Lockie Taylor. He'll start in position number 1 with Max Stouffer and Yanni Shaw joining him on the front row of the grid.
John Littris is always a good front runner. Will be up there. Senna Agis as well in the middle of row 2. Seth Crump, keep an eye on him.
Hunter Ford, Laura Brown, who's been on fire all weekend, and Luke Johnson, who won the race earlier on this morning, will start from row 3.
Of course, row 4 is Benny Baker. He's a winner. Brandon Demery, we know how fast he can be. And Reece Altred, boy, he's a youngster who's growing in stature all the time.
The veteran Ben Burke on bike number 60 makes a welcome return to the championship out of position number 13, joined on row 5 by Peter Nerlich and Xylus Bunting.
Matthew Rindell, Harry Parker and Jacob Hatch. We've heard of Jacob Hatch before on his Yamaha R321.
So good to see a lot of the juniors making their way into this class. Zach Pettendy is one of those. Grace Pooch and Steph James will start out of row 7 with Ryan Smith, John Quinn and Noel Mann on row 8.
And of course, row 9 is Ryan Moscardini, Hunter Diplock and Craig White. And what a massive field of riders we've got here this weekend.
Certainly have. Lockie Taylor there on the front row of the grid. Championship leader by 24 points. Max Stouffer in second. And on the outside of the front row of the grid, Yanni Shaw, victor at the last round at Winton Motor Raceway. Getting ready for the final race of the weekend for the YMI Supersport 300 class. So just it looks like there's some sort of delay there that the riders are still sitting there on the grid. Yeah, the officials have not left the front of the grid to say that we're getting ready to go into the starters' hands. Looks like we're getting ready to go now. Supersport 300. Supersport 300 is away. Good start from the second row of the grid. It looked like from Johnny Litchis on board bike number 308 as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. It is Max Stouffer that leads them. Lockie Taylor looking to try and come around the outside. Seth Crump goes up the inside, but Stouffer on 27 leads them into turn 1 for the first time. Oh, one run very wide on the exit of turn 1 there on the Kawasaki corner. Can they keep it on track?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, but looks like their chances are scuppered. But meanwhile, back out front, it looks like Maxi Stouffer is right where he needs to be. Lockie Taylor's up there too as they jostle for position. Seth Crump's in that group, just on the inside there, vying for the front lead. 3 wide through Kawasaki corner, 4 wide.
Seth Crump has taken the lead as they make their way down through the very fast corner and down into YMI. Look at them all trying to dive up the inside. Brandon Demery, one of them on board bike number 11. Around the outside, there goes Laura Brown on board bike number 355.
Of course, the ex-lap record holder, Laura Brown, she's back in form and I wouldn't be surprised if she can contest for a podium here today. She really has found her mojo. It's come back. She's had a lot of injuries in her career, but I'll tell you what, she's still got that determination to win.
As they drive up the hill through the Hayshed, the KTM corner, it looks like the KTM is on a charge. Seth Crump has taken back the lead. As they make their way towards the top of the hill now, Hunter Ford tries to come around the outside, and race 2 winner Luke Johnson, elbow on the deck, Steve Martin, as he comes across the top of YMI corner at Lukey Heights and takes up the running in second position ahead of Hunter Ford.
Johnny Litchis there in the middle of your screen. He just nipped up the inside there. Maxi Stouffer, who's pretty much run away with this racing at the start of the year, is not having it all his own way this weekend.
So it is Crump on 57 that leads from Hunter Ford on 20. Then back in third place is Luke Johnson on board bike number 25. A stunning debut a couple of rounds ago on the ProWorks Kawasaki, and he has come into this round with a lot of confidence, especially confident after his race 2 win, his first ever in this class earlier on today, as they make their way underneath the Melbourne sign. It is Johnson that leads, but look at them all pull out of the slipstream as they make their way down towards Doohan Corner, turn 1, and comes flying through there, the YMF corner this weekend, looking for the all-important entry into the long sweeping Suzuki corner, turn 2.
Saw Senagis up there. There's Hunter Ford, who just nips through into the lead at Suzuki corner now. Good mid-corner speed from him. You can see how big that front group is. What is there? 7, 8, 9 guys in that leading group at the moment, and not much of a gap back to another gaggle of riders.
Well, as we mentioned yesterday afternoon's race, Steve Martin, Ben Baker finished in 11th position, 0.9 of a second behind the race lead. Race 2 this morning was no different, and the current race leader, Luke Johnson, was the man that took his first ever victory in the class in that race. Looking now to see where Max Stouffer is, because he's dropped back the fraction. I think he's back to about 5th position. There he is on board bike number 27. He's got Brandon Demery on board bike number 11, trying to come around the outside of him. And Brandon Demery is another one that's made an impressive return from some very serious injuries. And last round at Winton Motor Raceway, he was in the leading group all weekend.
Yeah, this is the first time that Demery's raced at Phillip Island since he had those injuries. He had a big crash here on the start line incident just over a year ago now, but he's come back nice and strong, and good to see him up there in the leading group, just on the left of his screen on the rustic floors machine.
Remember the first round of the championship back in February? Senna Adjus was the only rider on the brand new Kawasaki Ninja 400 that was able to make an impression on the dominant Yamaha R3s in this class at the beginning of the year. He's still there. We're fighting it for the championship now at round 6, and there he is, just moving his way up into third place on board bike number 81. He sits in second place in the championship, dominated at round 4 at Morgan Park, scoring race wins in all 3 races, and he's now trying to get the race lead as they come down. He utilises the slipstream down the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight, pulls to the inside of Luke Johnson's machine, and takes up the running at the front on board bike number 81.
Yeah, good move there by Senagis, but good to see we've got all 3 brands in the top 4 as well. Seth Crump looks like he has a dive up the inside, and oh, that's close. Close as they're in the middle of Suzuki corner there. Double apex tucked in behind the screen. They are, and out they come, but Seth Crump just dropped back into 4th position there at the moment, side by side with Hunter Ford on the R3 Yamaha.
Yeah, the KTM's looking like it's got a lot of acceleration here this weekend. It's obviously loving the big nature of this circuit as opposed to some of the tighter, twistier circuits that we've been to over more recent rounds. It is Adjus and Luke Johnson that are in the lead at the moment. They've just, if anything, opened up a fractional lead over the rest of the group, but we saw that in race number 2. 3 corners later, that lead had gone, and the rest of the field were right on their ducktails.
I mean, hasn't Luke Johnson's confidence grown? I mean, like, he's literally just come on with a bang from we started noticing his name at Winton, well, at least I did, first ride for the ProWorks team, and now this weekend, boy, he's on a mission, on a roll.
Yeah, they're obviously doing good work there in the ProWorks team to get all of their riders up. They've got a young Xylus Bunting, another junior that's making the step up, riding for them this weekend as well. And another one of their riders, Luke Power, is off actually overseas, racing in the Asia Talent Cup this weekend as well. I think it's at the Sepang circuit in doing a good job there with all of those riders. Was that Adjus has a bit of a look over the shoulder. All he could see was a big number 57 right behind him. Here comes Brandon Demery as well on board bike number 11, starting to mount a charge as we come round to complete 3 laps of the 7-lap journey.
This is a good run by Demery at the moment. He's got himself in a good position in that group there. Just gets slipstreamed by Hunter Ford. Massive tailwind here at the moment. Everybody's been complaining about the wind here. Difficult to see on the TV, but it is the number 81, Senna Adjus, who leads into turn 1.
Max Stouffer just sitting on the back of that group there, just trying to keep his powder dry, jockeying for position, because as we've seen, the first 5 laps of this race is all about just putting yourself in a position to try and launch an assault over the last 2 laps. Looks like they've just started to drop 2 riders off the back. I think Laura Brown may have been one of those.
We've got a faller there.
That's a big crash on the start-finish straight. Looks like a rider actually caught under one of the bikes.
Yeah, we've got a red flag situation at the moment, so...
red flag. The riders will make their way back to the pit. I don't think they've actually noticed the red flag yet. There's the red flag waving. It won't take long and they'll actually start to slow down. There they are. They've noticed it now.
Yep, all the legs are out. So
race safe will be on the scene in a matter of seconds. field making their way back up towards the back of the circuit now. Fastest man in that race so far was Yanni Shaw on board the Bridgestone shod machine.
Yeah, and Yanni, I mean, he's been a breath of fresh air. There he is to the class, hasn't he? He was down in sixth position at that point, still with a few laps to go. But
yeah, won the last round, but he's still sitting fifth in the championship.
Of course, he won the New Zealand Moto 3 Championship at the start of the year, so he's a man of all talents.
Well, and also just been announced that he will be riding at the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix as a wildcard in the Moto 3 category on that very bike that he was racing in New Zealand.
Yeah, so that'll be definitely good news for him. Of course, MotoGP will be held at this circuit in a couple of weeks' time.
Just looking at those lap times, Steve Martin, they were all 150s, all the way back from first, all the way back to about 9th or 10th position.
A long way off the lap record set by John Litteris earlier in the year at 47.6.
And exactly what you'd expect in these blustery conditions that we have here at Phillip Island. Let's have a look at the highlights to date of the Supersport 300 category. Lockie Taylor started from pole position, but it was Johnny Litteris that got a fantastic jump off the line on board bike number 308 as they made their way down towards turn one. But Max Stouffer, that front row grid position, held him in good stead as they made their way down in towards the Kawasaki corner turn one for the first time. And it was Stouffer that led, but a few of them going very wide.
Yeah, certainly were. But meanwhile, back out front, it was the 151 Lockie Taylor with his beautifully prepared machine, who took the lead with Seth Crump on the outside there, trying to go round a gaggle of riders, 4 or 5 wide. There's Laura Brown as well in the Warwick Nolan team, doing the best job that she can. But Seth Crump trying to own the first lap. That was the way that he wanted it to stay. But I'll tell you what, it didn't last like that for long, because Luke Johnson shot through with Hunter Ford in second.
Yeah, it never does in this class. You can get a rider, gets to the lead, gets a little bit of a gap, and then 3 corners later, that gap's been mowed down. The slipstream, so important here this weekend, especially with the blustery conditions, Steve Martin. As we mentioned, in these smaller classes, there are so many opportunities for slipstreams. You can see it there, Senna Adjus using the slipstream to go up the inside of Luke Johnson down into turn one. Brandon
Demery started to make his way forward too, passing 4 guys at once around the Kawasaki corner. But meanwhile, out front, Senna Adjus, who, if I remember correctly, did a great job at the start of the year here on the Kawasaki as well.
He was actually the only rider that was consistently at the front of the field on the Ninja. Back then, the regulations were slightly different. The Ninja couldn't be modified at all. It had some reduced rev limit. As we've gone through the year, those technical regulations have been modified to try and keep the field as even as we possibly can. This weekend, some further changes with a few revs being taken off the Kawasaki Ninjas. And let's go down to Emma, because this weekend there are so many riders that have been doing international duty, and they've all come back to Phillip Island to have a look what's going on.
From the ASBK paddock to very exciting international racing adventures, we are very proud of these 3 guys right here, starting with you, Tom Bramich. Now, you've been overseas this year for World Supersport 300. Congratulations on that. But obviously you're back because of this. He's got a broken elbow, but still always smiling. How's the adventure been?
Yeah, it's been an awesome year. I've learnt so much being over in Europe, and yeah, it's a shame to end the year like this, but it could be worse, and I could have done it at the start of the year. So, yeah, we've signed the contract to go back next year with the same team and the same bike. So I'm really excited for that. And, yeah, hopefully I can get prepared for that as soon as my elbow's better.
Congratulations. That is great to hear for 2020. Steve's very happy that you're back here because you used to mow his lawns. Is that right? How did you get roped into that job?
Oh, I don't know about that, but, yeah, I've spent a fair bit of time with Steve. And, yeah, he used to go down to the local place where I worked and buy a fair few things, so I think he's glad for the discounts.
Thanks for coming down this weekend. Tom Taparis, always busy. Hockenheim, Assen, how was the experience?
Yeah, Emma, obviously I've been over there pretty much all year since March, so back and forth it's been quite hard to deal with the travelling and whatever, but yeah, the experience has been amazing. Like, I think 6 or 7 races overseas and then also competing here in Australia. It's been like a lot of riding this year, which at the end of the day is really good. So yeah, to answer your question, the last 2 rounds, Hockenheim and Assen. Assen was the British Superbike Championship. Got a podium in that, which was like amazing for me because I never raced at Assen before or in BSB. So yeah, to do that was awesome. And then Hockenheim was the opposite. I was like really fast, but I couldn't stay on 2 wheels. And unfortunately, I had like every rider's worst nightmare, and I crashed on the last lap of race 2 out of the lead with a second gap. So yeah, I've been thinking about that ever since, and everyone's wanted to talk to me about it. But anyway, I'll move on, and hopefully we can get the job done tomorrow.
We're very proud. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Emma. Cheers.
And Max Stouffer, did you ever think at such a young age, also Assen and Hockenheim, great work, well done.
Yeah, thank you. It was a great experience to go over and do those 2 rounds with the Holland Darts Cup. Great experience, but no, I'm real thankful for everyone that was involved to help me out.
Thanks, Max, and good luck this weekend. Good luck to all these guys in their next adventure. We cannot wait to see what they do next.
Thanks, Sam. Right, thank you, Emma. Great to hear from the riders that have been over there doing great work overseas, Steve Martin. And that's the impressive thing, is that all of the riders that have left these shores this year to go and race in other championships have done really good work. Max Stouffer took a victory in his first ride, and he leads the championship here on 313 points. Senna Agis is in 289, another young rider with international experience. Hunter Ford is third in the championship on 241 points. Seth Crump's been overseas as well this year, and he's fourth in the championship. Yanni Shaw in fifth. Johnny Littris, Brandon Demery, Lockie Taylor, Harry Curry and Zach Levy round out the top 10. But this weekend, as we mentioned, the championship lead for Max Stouffer has been whittled away.
Yeah, definitely. And this is not the class that you can sit back and finish a second off the lead and pick up a handful of points, because as you can see, if you're a second off the lead, you're going to be 15 bikes back. You could get no points at all. You need to go for the win, especially if you're in the shoes of Maxi Stouffer. Well, this race, a little bit of news that has come through. We will be restarting. You can see the guys that are keen to get it underway, but it will be reduced to a 4-lap race now, so that is pretty much a sprint for these guys. So there will be no hanging around. We've got about a minute to go until the pit lane opens. Everybody just sitting there. There'll be a warm-up lap and then straight into it.
There's Luke Johnson, you can see there on the ProWorks Kawasaki bike number 25. Scored his first race win in the class this weekend. And what a great result for ProWorks Kawasaki. They've really stepped up their game in 2019, and to come away with their first victory of the year would make the team just as happy as Luke Johnson, their rider.
Hang on, you might be saying second victory of the year in about 10 minutes' time, because Luke Johnson is not finished yet. You could see how keen he was to get this race underway, short of the 4 laps. All of these riders will know that. They'll be looking to get a fair bit of heat into these tyres in this warm-up lap now as they head out and make their way to the start line.
So that's 2 laps of jockeying and 2 laps of frantic action.
Oh, I just reckon we're going to have 4 laps of frantic action.
Down to the pits, Emma's with Jamie Stouffer, 4-time Australian champion.
Great to see you watching on. Max has done a stellar job. Obviously never nice to see an accident and a restart like this, though.
Yeah, it's not good. I hope the guy's all right. It looked quite nasty, but hopefully there's not going to be another one, because they've had them sitting on the grid with no tyre warmers. To me, the rule should be you go back, put your tyre warmers on, and you know, because being a rider myself, I know that going out there and going hell for leather for 4 laps on cold tyres has never ended well whenever I've seen it. So I think there needs to be a few rule amendments there.
Thanks for the chat. Good luck for your race later.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to hear Jamie Stouffer's thoughts there, and also great to see Jamie Stouffer back in those leathers. They're the leathers that he actually rode at Suzuka, I think, about 4 years ago. Yeah,
absolutely. He's, of course, we'll see him later on today in the Superbike class, riding one of those beautiful V4 Panigales.
Yeah, the bike built and prepared by Craig McMartin up in Sydney. Craig McMartin, a long-time Ducati man, and great to see him debuting the brand new V4R here this weekend, and probably no better rider to have developing a brand new bike than the multiple Australian champion Jamie Stouffer.
Absolutely. Good to see father and son combination racing in the same weekend and the same day as well.
Yeah, they would have worked out some way to have bragging rights brought into the whole occasion too.
Well, I'm sure.
It could be a long trip home for one of them, depending on how the other one goes this weekend. So riders now coming round to take up their positions on the grid. You can see Sam Phillips there with his red flag at the front of the grid to halt the riders' progress and make sure they take up their grid positions. The race safe vehicle there in the background, Steve Martin, they've done a great job this weekend not only attending to injured riders, but also sports medicine, the whole thing that Race Safe do every weekend at an ASBK meeting. But MA calendar events, there is plenty coming up. The Australian Supercross Championship Round 1 on the 12th of October from Brisbane Entertainment Centre. The Australian Trials Championship 12th to the 13th of October from Mount Joy in Tasmania. And the Australian Supercross Championship Round 2, the 19th of October from Gilman Speedway in South Australia. For more details, ma.org.au. Riders now coming round to take up their positions on the grid.
You can just see there, looks like one of the riders, looks like Brandon Demery is either saying hurry up or there's an issue. He's got some sort of issue there.
Just having a quick word to Sam Phillips there. Sam busily scurries back to the position at the front of the grid.
In the starter's hands, Phil.
So, Supersport 300. Revs rise. Supersport 300 is go. Steve Martin, as we make our way underneath the Melbourne Bridge and down towards turn 1 for the first time. It looked like it was Luke Johnson that got the jump from the front of the grid on board bike number 25. Seth Crump is also steaming down the outside with a full head of steam. Can't quite get around the outside of Luke Johnson as they all peel into a turn 1. And it looks to me, Steve, like they've all made it through safely as they make their way now up towards Suzuki Corner turn 2.
Absolutely. Seth Crump with another brilliant start. But look at Luke Johnson out front. Boy, I've got a lot of time for this kid in the way that he's come from nowhere. Oh, Brandon Demery's gone really wide. Looks like he's got some sort of issue there. Some sort of issue. He's got a lot of time to make up there. He's out of this one. He's not even trying. Something. We saw him on the start line with an issue there. He's definitely pulling in the pits. But meanwhile, back out front, there's that 5 to 10 wide heading into the tight turn 4.
Well, the Yamaha Motor Finance Supersport 300 class always delivers some excitement, and unfortunately a little bit too much excitement for Brandon Demery on that first lap. As you said, he's got a lot of work to do to claw back championship points. But at the moment, everyone's trying to claw back our race leader, and that is Luke Johnson, who's got, by this class standards, a massive lead over Seth Crump. And then coming up right behind him is Hunter Ford on board bike number 20. Then it's Senna Adjus on 81 and Yanni Shaw on 333.
You could just see at Suzuki Corner turn 2, he was determined. He already had a bit more corner speed. He was on a bit of a roll, was the number 25. But everyone's just closing up nice now. Max Stauffer up the inside.
How smooth was Max Stauffer then as he just came around the outside of Yanni Shaw and up the inside, positioned the motorcycle perfectly on the run down into turn 10. That's a move that his father, Jamie Stauffer, would be very proud of.
Well, you mentioned that he didn't want that championship lead to be whittled away anymore, so he's got to do the best job he can now to try and make his way forward to maintain that lead in this class.
Well, what Max Stauffer probably needs to concentrate on at the moment is just finishing ahead of Senna Adjus, because that's the man that's closest to him in the championship points at the moment. As they make their way down the straight, it is Luke Johnson that leads. Here comes Adjus up the inside. Can't get up the inside of Seth Crump, who just rolls it in, using no brakes at all, down in towards turn 1 on that occasion, through the Yamaha Motor Finance corner, and now through the Suzuki corner. As you pointed out before, Steve Martin, it's a big double apex corner. And these bikes seem to be on their side for so long through turn 2.
Yep, and they go down. That's Kawasaki straight into turn 3. Brilliant slipstreaming opportunity here, but once again it's into that really tight turn 4, just after the YMI little straight here, where Luke Johnson maintains that lead and Senna Adjus nips up the inside of Hunter Ford.
Let's have a look where our championship contenders are. Max Stauffer is back in 6th position. Third place in the championship. Hunter Ford is up there into third place behind Senna Adjus, who's in 2nd place. At the moment, they're still, once again, like last lap, at this position on the circuit. They're all trying to take back the lead that's been whittled away or taken out by Luke Johnson on board bike number 25. Just having a look to see who that is on a charge. Is that Benny Burke on board bike number 60? He's been getting faster and faster every time he goes out on the BC Performance Kawasaki Ninja 400, making his way up into the lead group as well. Well, watch out for the very experienced rider from Western New South Wales.
Well, Benny Burke, he is probably one of the oldest guys out there.
I think the only rider that would be older than him would be Greg Farrell.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, he's being older means he's experienced. He has raced in the Superbike class before, and that just shows you how tough this little 300 class is.
I'm actually trying to think of a class that Ben Burke hasn't raced in over the many years that he's been riding motorcycles. He's also another rider that's been overseas, raced in BSB, very nearly won the British Superstock Championship many moons ago, did Ben Burke, as the rider's now fly underneath the Melbourne Bridge and down into turn 1. Again, it is Senna Agis that takes up the running at the front on board bike number 81. Johnson relegated to second. The one consistent, though, Steve Martin, is that Seth Crump is always there or thereabouts and looking to try and launch another attack and take another podium this weekend, just like he did in race 1 yesterday afternoon.
And do not count out Hunter Ford. We just saw him have a big look up the inside there into the Suzuki corner. Couldn't pull it off, but he is so strong into the corners. And with this race being shortened, I tell you what, he will have to start making dive bombs very shortly.
Watch out, Yanni Shaw comes up the inside as well. You can see him going there, and he goes from third place up into the lead. Yanni Shaw, what a move on the brakes, down into the turn 4 area. That's YMI corner this weekend, and he's run a fraction wide, I think, and Seth Crump has come back, took the lead momentarily through MA corner turn 5, but as they come out of Siberia now, it is once again Yanni Shaw on board the 333 machine that leads from Seth Crump and Hunter Ford.
I don't like correcting you, Phil, but he didn't come from third place. He came from 5th through to 1st.
That was a long way back, that's for sure.
But I don't think it's going to stay that way very long, because we've got 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, I can't even count that many wide as they head over the top of the hill into Pirelli corner. Yanni Shaw's got the perfect line, but it is Seth Crump who leads. He's already had a podium here this weekend, but that was a 3rd place. Do you reckon he's going to be happy with another 3rd, or do you reckon he wants a win?
I reckon he wants a win. He's going to get the last lap board as they come round onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight on this occasion. But look who's positioned himself perfectly for the run through Yamaha Revjahart corner. It is Hunter Ford on board bike number 20. He'll be able to use the slipstream. He pulls to the inside, doesn't use the slipstream at all as they make their way down the straight now. He may be looking for some shelter next to the concrete wall there, next to the pitch, to try and stay out of the wind. And he's been swamped, has Hunter Ford, one of the bigger riders in the field. He's gone from the lead back to about 5th position as they start this last lap, Steve Martin. 4.45 kilometres of absolute mayhem.
And it's worked out well for Seth Crump. Seth Crump's out front, but just drops back to 3rd. Hunter Ford dives up the inside there. Didn't quite see who that was in front. Is that Luke Johnson back out in front? Well, we got a faller in the background there. Someone's come off in the middle of the Suzuki corner. They're up and okay. One of the Kawasaki's, that
I think
could
that might be Benny Burke.
Yeah. Well, yeah, is that Senna Agis?
There's no green bike at the back of that field. Okay. There's Senna Agis there on board bike number 81. I think you'll find that is Ben Burke on board bike number 60 that's crashed out. Yep. He's best rider of the weekend so far, but it's Yanni Shaw that leads as they come on the exit of turn 4, down through MA corner turn 5, and now they're at Siberia, the YMF corner, and it is Yanni Shaw on 333 that leads from Hunter Ford. Then it's Senna Agis and, Luke Johnson, then Senna Agis. Seth Crump back to 5th position. He could have played his cards perfectly, Seth Crump. He's in great position to launch an attack as they come up towards the top of the hay shed now.
Yeah, Seth Crump's only got one issue, and that's the 4 people in front of him at the moment, but he's just dispersed of 3 of them. He's moved up into 2nd place around the outside of Hunter Ford. Hard to do. He's been knocked back to the back of that group. Will he take the dive down the inside? Senna Agis has gone deep, but it is Yanni Shaw who runs in and chops the nose off of the guys behind, and he's holding a good line.
This could be a repeat of race number 1 yesterday afternoon, where Yanni Shaw led them through turn 12, and Senna Agis used the slipstream to perfection, got the run through turn 12. In fact, he's gone earlier. He's gone around the outside of Yanni Shaw on the entry to turn 12. Shaw pulls to the inside and takes back the lead as they come out of the corner. It is going to be Slipstream City now as they try and make their way to the line. Shaw's been swamped. I think Agis has got the lead. Here comes Luke Johnson as well. Seth Crump. Oh, it is so close as they go across the line. There was 5 bikes within absolutely nothing, Steve Martin, and I don't even think they know who's taken the win in that class.
Well, according to our timing screens, it's Luke Johnson. That'd make 2 in a row for him, wouldn't it?
It would make 2 in a row for Luke Johnson, but I think they might be getting the photo out because there is literally less than 1/10 of a second covering the top 5.
That is an incredible way to finish a race. And for Max Stauffer, he gets 4th. That's good for his championship. Seth Crump, who looked pretty strong out there, unfortunately misses out in the podium as well in 5th place.
And it looked like Luke Johnson and Senna Agis were arguing over who was going to take the win.
Well, yeah, one of them's going to be happy when they get back.
The timing monitor has changed again, so we'll wait for official confirmation there. But the one thing we can confirm is that there was literally 1/10 of a second between the top 5 as they came across the line. Seth Crump, it looks like at the moment, is being credited with 5th position, 0.099 off the race win.
Yeah, Demery got back out there as well, so whatever his issue was, at least he managed to get a few laps in and under his belt. He got some points. He finished in 11th position, but that run-off he had out of the Suzuki corner didn't help his cause too much.
No surprise to see that on our timing monitor has just flashed up that the race finish is subject to video review.
Not just a photo review,
And I'd
video
say
review.
good luck with trying to sort that out, because that one may even be too hard for the human eye to try and figure out, because they flashed across the line as a bunch. The fastest man in that race was Yanni Shaw with a 1:49.381. Considering the windy conditions out there, Steve Martin, that is an unbelievably fast lap time.
Oh, it is. I mean, these little 300s get knocked around in the wind quite substantially, but that was a great ride and great entertainment.
Well, while they try and sort out who's actually won that race, we'll have a short break here from Phillip Island. Come back on the other side. Continuing action from spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship from Phillip Island.
It is round 6 of the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Welcome back to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We just had the final race for Supersport 300. This guy right here with the cool sunnies still on finished in 3rd position. Another podium for you. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. It was really cool ride. Look, it was tough. Those guys were crazy, and with the red flag, you know, we kind of planned the race off race 1 start, but race 2 start was crazy. We were sprinting for the line. I knew I had to lead the last lap to have any real chance, but yeah, unfortunately pipped me just before the end again. But hey, look, we're happy to be here again.
Thanks, Yanni. And in 2nd position, 2 podiums. Luke Johnston, congratulations. Well done, great racing.
Yeah, thanks. It was a full-on race. I actually got tapped down the straight. But congratulations to Yanni and Santa for getting 1st. It was a good weekend, considering my 2 podiums, yeah. I'd like to thank ProWorks, Rob from Wellsprung, Moto Garage, the Grinning Dingo, and Motul.
Thanks, Luke. Well done. And in 1st position, your winner, Senna Aegis. Congratulations.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, it was a good race. I had a few dramas on the last lap. I dropped back a bit, but I knew it was close between me and Luke, and photo finish, so that's pretty fun. And yeah, glad to take the overall win.
Great work. Give him a round of applause. And ladies and gentlemen, keep that round of applause going for Laura Brown, getting presented by Lee with this beautiful AGV helmet for being the fastest female for the weekend. Well done.
Laura Brown for taking out the AGV award as the fastest female this weekend. And wasn't she fast, Steve Martin? Incredibly fast all weekend. Now, this year in the Australian Superbike Championship, it has been a watershed year. There has been so many ups and downs with all of the riders. Steve Martin took a look back to find out what has happened this year in the championship. What is the lay of the land?
2019 has been a cracker. 5 riders and 5 manufacturers still in with a chance of winning this championship. It hasn't been smooth sailing though, because there's been different scenarios that have caused issues for everybody. Bayliss was supposed to win this year, but was out before the first checker had swung.
Oh, and Bayliss hit the back of Ray Maxwell's machine. He's gone down at turn 1.
That injury opened the door for lap record holder Mike Jones to move from his private Kawasaki and jump on the Bayliss bike. Good move, because he now leads. Crew Halliday has had a smooth year, finishing every race with flawless precision. But he's the only one in the top 5 that hasn't won a race. He's strong at the island though, so watch out. Maxwell, new to Suzuki, started strong till this happened.
And look, Wagner's gone up the inside, Wagner's through, Wagner's touch, lip touch, he's down, Maxwell is down.
Will that affect his performance this time round? He's a specialist here, but turn 12 must be playing on his mind. Herfoss is used to leading, and at this time last year, he was on a roll.
The 2018 champion will be Troy Herfoss.
It's a different story in 2019 though. Troy is chasing, and that tension was on clear display at Winton.
Troy Herfoss not happy.
And then there's Starring, the sleeper of the bunch. When Starring stars are aligned, he's unbeatable at Phillip Island.
0.019 of a second is the difference to Starring as they come across the line.
Third in the championship, this is a place where he's had success in the past. Don't count him out. With 4 races left and 102 points up for grabs, this thing ain't over yet. There'll be more twists to this story. And unfortunately, only a fairy tale finish for one rider.
It is the penultimate round of the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We are at sunny Phillip Island and we're just about to go racing for Kawasaki Superbike race number 2, their final race for the weekend. But in the meantime, it's this guy right behind me, Wayne Maxwell, who took a bit of a trip around this beautiful track with Steve Martin.
Is there anywhere you would rather be, Wayne, than right here, right now at Phillip Island?
Yeah, in the driver's seat where you are. I'm not sure what I'm in for here, Steve.
Phillip Island is one of the greatest circuits in the world. I mean, I know that you've ridden at a lot of circuits, but it must be one of your favourites.
Yeah, there's nothing better than I reckon rolling out of here, qualifying 2, 5 minutes to go, soft tyre, and when you got grip, it's an amazing place.
And you don't warm up into it either, do you? It's like basically straight into one of the scariest corners, turn 1. It's amazing.
When you get down to turn 1, if you're 100% committed and you get out of turn 1 in the middle of the road to set you up for a good drive into turn 2.
A bit of a blast down into turn 3, Casey corner. This is sort of heart in your mouth stuff.
Come down there, 4th gear, short shift 5th, you come up the crest, the bike wheelies, and then basically, yeah, just try to commit and keep the throttle on. So it's a lot easier to get through here, I find, when you got the bike sideways.
Sideways? Sounds easier than it looks, I guess. But it's a good view into Siberia, though, isn't it? I mean, look at the ocean. I guess you're not looking at that when you're heading in there, though.
I've actually never noticed it, Steve. It's yeah, look, it is a nice view. Hopefully, I don't have the opportunity to stop and take any, take in the view.
Well, I have ended up in the kitty litter out there before, but anyway, that's another story. What's the one word to describe this circuit?
Oh, hard in your mouth, exhilarating. There's so many corners that are 3rd and 4th gear, over 200 kilometres an hour. The bike's sliding, and I don't know. You know the consequences, but you just still keep turning up and turning the throttle. It's an amazing feeling, and when you're in a 5-bike draft down the front straight, and there's no better feeling in the world.
We're at turn 12, and you had one of the biggest moments I've seen in my life. You ended up out in the kitty litter there. That was a big one.
I ended up smashing my elbow on the curb here as I was sliding backwards a little lip there. So that's racing motorbikes. It's really put us on the back foot for the year to not finish one of the races at the first round. It's been quite difficult, but the last couple of rounds have been positive.
There's 100 points left this year, and the truth is, you need 4 race wins if you've got any chance of winning this championship. Can you pull it off?
Well, Steve, there's 102. There's 2 pole positions. I need every point I can get, mate.
All right, well, that extra 2, you only need to win by... Actually, you only need to win by 0.5.
Yeah, you only need to win by countback.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, look, it's going to try to... That's the challenge, to win races. If you win races, everything's easy.
Wayne, thank you very much for that. Did you learn anything from my lines?
Yeah, they were spectacular, Steve. I remember watching you back in the day here, and definitely you could turn it on over one lap when you're riding that Pirelli shod Ducati. That was for sure pretty special.
Yeah, well, you would have been wearing nappies back then, I would have reckoned, Wayne. Good luck this weekend, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Welcome back to The Grid with a very special guest who's here this weekend from the Carlton Football Club, Matthew Cruiser. I know you love your 2 wheels, so thanks for coming on down.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a great day. It's been some good racing so far, and yeah, looking forward to the next race.
God, I wish I'd worn my heels today. 6'7" he is. Hey, what's your tip for this one?
I think Glenn Maxwell is going to be hard to beat. Hey, Maxwell. It's going to be an interesting race, but hopefully it's a good one.
Enjoy. Our racing's a little bit closer than the grand final was last weekend. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
All right, welcome to The Grid. Let's see who we can grab quickly. Tyre warmers are coming off, but you know what? I want to grab the guy who does so well around here, Josh Waters. He almost got there last time, finished in 4th. What do you have to do to get the podium for this one, Joshy?
Hopefully a little bit better start, and all our pace at the end was pretty similar, so I was happy with how I was going. Just see how the first couple of laps go.
Go get him. All right, shout out to Dale Breed, who's not here this weekend. Let's just jump over quickly with Glenn Allerton returning. Want to check how the body is feeling. How are you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Just struggling with the wind, obviously, but I think it's the same for everyone, but just going to have some fun.
Best of luck. Yes, it is very windy down here. It's been windy all day, and it is still picking up. We'll chat to some more people shortly. In the meantime, it is time to go racing for race number 2 of the Kawasaki Superbike. It's over to you, Phil Harlan, Steve Martin.
Thank you very much, Emma. Great to hear from the riders down there on the grid. And We saw a lot of tension at the start of race one, Steve Martin. There seemed to be a few more smiles and everything there. Maybe the riders know exactly what the conditions are, whereas race one, there was a fair amount of apprehension.
Well, they know what they've got to do now. They know they've all got to chase down Wayne Maxwell. Maxwell won that race in the first lap, so that's what Josh Waters was alluding to. He could lap at the same pace as Maxwell, but Maxwell was a second or so in front after the first flying lap. So that's what the others have to do. They have to try and chase him down. If Mike Jones can be on the back wheel of Maxwell, there he is, our pole man, we are going to be in for a cracker of a race for the win instead of the lower podium positions. So that's the aim of the other riders. Herfoss, keep an eye on him too. He's another guy, another rider that is having the time of his life here today.
Josh Waters was 0.07 off the podium in race number one, and by his own admission, didn't get a good start. So keep your eye on the rider on bike number 21, the 3 times Australian Superbike champion, the Mildura missile, Josh Waters. And another rider that we've been talking about too, Matt Walters. He'll start from the front row of the grid in third, his best ever qualifying position. But Mike Jones, fourth pole position for the year, and Wayne Maxwell also on that front row of the grid in second.
Yeah, brilliant front row that we've got there, but it is Daniel Falzon from Yamaha. Good qualifying for him. He's had some good results here. Keep an eye on Troy Herfoss because he's on a mission here this week and the best he's ever ridden. And Crew Halliday, he rode well too.
Third row, three times Australian champions with Josh Waters, Glenn Allerton and Brian Starring all starting from that third row of the grid, and good late race pace from Josh Waters, as we mentioned.
Mark Kyoto, fairly new to the Honda around this track. Damon Rees is coming on strong, and Jamie Stauffer, welcome back on the V4R Panigale.
Row 5, Al Phillips, Lachlan Epps and Aaron Morris.
Of course, Sarah Morris on the BMW there. Sloane Frost from New Zealand, David Barker and Matt Tooley, who we saw have an off in race one today.
Phil Charr, Brendan McIntyre and Dean Hasler will start out of positions 19, 20 and 21.
Nathan Spiteri's back in, as is Trent Gibson on his new Ducati, and Michael Edwards.
Quickly down to M before the start of the Kawasaki Superbike race number 2.
Just with Honda boss Dion Crute looking very confident because Troy got second last time. What does he have to do to get that win?
Yeah, a little bit better start and, better Wayne from the start. That'd be great.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, the riders are coming round to take up their position on the grid now, Steve Martin. There is 11 points from second to fifth in this championship. Mike Jones has a 24-point lead over second place rider Crew Halliday, but it is all on as we get down to the last 3 races in the championship. There are 76 points up for grabs for the remainder of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship in the Kawasaki Superbike class. Spokes.com.au presents round 6 is coming down to the wire. Who will leave here as the championship leader? Jones leads the championship and starts from pole position. In the starter's hands. Red lights are on. And we're away and racing. Kawasaki Superbike class is go as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. Looked like a cracking start from Crew Halliday on board bike number 65 as well as they all peel safely through turn 1. It is Mike Jones that leads. Wayne Maxwell in second place, a carbon copy of race number 1 this morning, but Maxwell hasn't been able to shoehorn the Suzuki up the inside at turn 2 like he did in race 1.
Absolutely. That's the start that Mike Jones needed to pull back the number 47, Wayne Maxwell, and Daniel Falzon's up there too. He got a cracker of a start, but it's Matt Walters, the privateer, who's still holding that third position. What a ride he's having this weekend.
Down into a turn 4 for the first time. The field closes up. Looks like most of the riders maintaining their position there. Josh Waters didn't get the start he wanted. In fact, he's behind Lachlan Epps on board bike number 83. So have a bit of work to do to find his way past the Response Real Estate Kawasaki rider.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad start for Waters. Not what he wanted. We heard from him, and he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get on that podium. Herfoss also didn't get the best of starts, in 5th at the moment, but still, look at the gap that Jones is pulling out.
Well, Jones has done the Maxwell, hasn't he? He's put his head back, and both of them have managed to pull out a decent lead over the rest of the field. Matt Walters closes up into the distance a fraction on the brakes as they come down through turn 10, the Pirelli corner for the first time. Looks like he's got that Daniel Falzon camped on his ducktail, but it is Jones and Maxwell that lead now as they come round through turn 12, the final corner, the Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner, and it is the Desmo Sport Ducati of Mike Jones and the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine of Wayne Maxwell that have managed to pull out a sizable lead over the rest of the field as they come across the line. The lead is 1 second exactly, Steve Martin.
Yeah, and I tell you, there is one thing that Wayne Maxwell will not do here, and that is he will not let Mike Jones beat him in this race, because if he wants to win the championship, that's the one guy he needs to beat.
Well, he probably won't want to get in front too early without having the pace to completely blast Mike Jones, because he won't want to be giving away too many secrets.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure about that. He's already looking up the inside there, and he's gone through in one of the fastest corners. My goodness, what a pass.
Well, he said it's easy to get through there if you're sideways, and he's going to pull the ears back now. Oh, it's Herfoss up the inside of Falzon. Falzon had to stand the machine up. Here comes Josh Waters through the field. He's done a miraculous recovery, has Josh Waters. He's gone from about 8th up to 5th place in the space of 1 lap.
I saw Glenn Allerton in the back of that pack too. Glenn Allerton's had a good start, but watch this from Maxwell there. Bit of a bobble from the number 46. Maxwell holds it on into the Kawasaki curve. Up the inside he goes. Jonesy has to back out of it, and it's Wayne Maxwell out front at the moment. He's already got a couple of bike lengths lead.
Well, the Suzuki GSX-R 1000R looked like it was at absolute rails as he made his way through turn 3 on that occasion. Herfoss is up to 3rd place as well. Has Halliday's gone down. Bike number 65, 2nd place in the championship, is out of the race. He'll have to try and get the Yamaha YZF R1M up. The handlebar's broken, Steve Martin. He's not going anywhere.
He's gone. He's out of this. That's a big blow to his championship. A big blow to his championship.
So as they come across the line, it is Maxwell that leads by 0.2 of a second from Mike Jones on board bike number 46. Matty Walls is still in 3rd place. Herfoss back to 4th place. And let's have a look behind Herfoss. It is now Josh Waters up to 5th. Then it's Falzon, Glenn Allerton up to 7th place. Brian Starring in 8th. Mark Kyoto in 9th. And Lachlan Epps on board bike number 22 rounds out the top 10.
Matty Walters, the privateer on the Kawasaki, is the only guy that can stay with these two up the front at the moment. What an incredible ride as Mike Jones goes back into the lead.
Just have a look. Matt Walters' first flying lap was a 1:33.0, not too far off his qualifying time. Maxwell down the inside again. Jones, it almost looked like he was rubbing the leathers on Wayne Maxwell's Pirelli front tyre there as they made their way through turn 4, the YMI corner.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And Maxwell's gone wide, and it looks like Jones was up the inside there as they head out. But Maxwell still holds on to that lead as they head through the KTM corner. Just right on the inside. That's such a tricky corner to get right. But Maxwell gets it dialed in perfectly with the number 46, Mike Jones, and the Desmo Ducati behind him.
I remember a couple of years ago, Wayne Maxwell was talking about the run from the hay shed up to the top of Lukey Heights. You could see there the little gap that he pulled out over Mike Jones. As we have a look at a replay now of Crew Halliday's incident, he tried to get down the inside of his teammate, Daniel Falzon, lost the front end just at the apex of the corner. You could see the front tyre just tuck, and Crew Halliday was out. I think the handlebar broke when he went across the ripple strip there, and as he tries to pick it up, you could see it dangling down the inside. That is Crew Halliday's race run and done, and that is the first time in 2019 that Crew Halliday has not finished the race.
Yep, that's definitely not what he needed to do. He's just, if Maxwell finishes this race, he's just thrown 2nd place in the championship away. There's the pit crew at Yamaha. You can see Crew's spare bike just sitting there. That's not going to help him this time round.
So Maxwell leads from Jones. Matt Walters. Here comes Herfoss, though, on board bike number 1. Another bit of sideways action. You can see the bobble there from Mike Jones's machine as the Desmo Sport Ducati just got a little bit squirrely on the way out of turn 2.
Herfoss is definitely on a bit of a roll too. He's caught right up to the back now of the Kawasaki connection rider, Matt Walters, and he's going to be looking for a way past pretty soon, but I got to take my hat off to that lone Kawasaki in the top 4 or 5 riders there. He's doing a brilliant job.
Has been doing a brilliant job all weekend, has Matt Walters, but Troy Herfoss has also been doing a brilliant job. In fact, he's been doing the best job in this class because he set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:32.698.
Yeah, that's a very impressive job by Herfoss. I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of his fastest ever race laps around this circuit.
The only rider in this race to actually get into the 32, Steve Martin, and considerably into the 32s as well. So Troy Herfoss, look for him on a charge over the next couple of laps, as Maxwell and Jones were also into the mid 33s.
Yes.
As Josh Waters goes up the inside of Daniel Falzon through Yamaha Revjahart corner to take up the running now in 5th position.
Yeah, great job there by Josh Waters. He'll be ruining that start. And look at the Yamaha man, Daniel Falzon. He's also searching for his first podium of the year. Side by side, they go into turn 1 there. Who is it? It's Falzon who gets that position back.
Just noticed too, Brian Starring in the bottom of that camera shot. He's also on a charge on the BC Performance Kawasaki as well. And right behind him, Glenn Allerton, 3-times Australian champion on the Next Gen Motorsports BMW S1000RR.
Yeah, good to see the BMW getting stronger and stronger again. Glenn was out with injury, but he's back now.
And Herfoss is up into 3rd position as they come down into YMI corner. This is lap 5 now of the 12-lap journey. There goes Waters up the inside of Falzon. These two are having a ding-dong battle now as they make their way out towards the bottom end of the circuit. And that lovely view you spoke of, Steve Martin, of Siberia.
Yeah, well, they're not looking at that. We know that now. We heard that from Wayne Maxwell. But I tell you what, Herfoss has done more than just pass Matty Walters. He's caught right at the back of the two in front of him now. He's on for a win in this one. Keep an eye on the Honda rider.
If you keep your eye on Matt Walters there coming out of Siberia, you can see how physically demanding it is to ride a superbike around here at Phillip Island, especially in these windy conditions. Troy Herfoss, the level of fitness that man has is absolutely unbelievable, and he has absolutely killed them on this lap. He has come from nowhere to be right on the back of our race leaders, Mike Jones and Wayne Maxwell. I can't wait to see what his lap time is on this one.
Well, absolutely, but just look at the rear wheel spin he's getting there. You can see Herfoss absolutely sideways on the Penrite Honda as he heads out of the Yamaha Revjahart corner down onto the Pirelli Motul main straight.
5 laps complete now. It is Troy Herfoss, the fastest man on track with a 1:32.512.
And Jones goes back through to lead. There's no disputing the speed of that V-twin Panigale down the main straight here at Phillip Island. It is fast.
Herfoss was half a second faster than the Maxwell Jones duo on that last lap, and you can see how fast that Panigale is on the start-finish straight. How hard is Troy Herfoss riding that Penrite Honda through the corners?
Well, he wants this, and he knows, and he's going to go around the outside here. He's hard on the brakes. He's dived up the inside, not quite there, but I tell you what, the last lap he did a 32.6. was the fastest lap he's ever done around here on a race lap. Well, that one, 32.5, is even quicker than that. So he's constantly in the 32s at the moment.
Well, trying to outbrake Wayne Maxwell into the 2 slow corners here at Phillip Island, you're going to have to wake up pretty early in the morning to try and catch the Wayne train out.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been done before, but in recent history, but anything's possible, and he's going to look up the inside here. But going to be interesting to see what happens when we get onto the main straight this time round with Herfoss so close. He's going to have a double slipstream. That should help him slip past at least the Suzuki man.
Well, as these 3 riders make their way out of turn 11, I was about to tell you before about Wayne Maxwell and the run from Hayshed up to Lukey Heights when all hell broke loose with the action, that they were looking at the data and they were comparing it that Maxwell was actually slower into the corner than what some of the other riders were. And Maxwell said, yeah, I'm slower into the corner because I need to be faster out. He's the fastest rider out of the corner, and he made the comment, he can't be fast everywhere on this circuit. Sometimes you've got to set it up. And he does that magnificently across the top of Lukey Heights. At the moment, he's going to have to do it to try and catch up onto the back of Mike Jones, who appears to be trying to make a break.
Herfoss tries to dive up the inside there. What you say is absolutely right. This is a track, although it looks like it's frenetic action out there from their behalf, you need to be loose on the bike. You need to be in control. You need to keep everything as smooth as you can to look after those tyres. You need to let the bike move around, but you don't want to unnecessarily spin that rear wheel because that'll definitely wear it out.
Matt Walters has still got a pretty handy lead over the Josh Waters, Daniel Falzon battle for 5th and 6th position. That's Jones, is it? Jones has gone down. The championship leader is down. The Desmo Sport Ducati is out of this race.
That was huge. That was some sort of... I want to have another look at that. That was could have been a high side he had there. But
so that leaves Maxwell and Herfoss.
Hang on. He's gone in. He's got in. He's just started to wind the gas on about now. And... what? Oh, he's been... Okay, so Maxwell's gone up the inside, carried more mid-corner speed, and just said, I'm coming through, this is my line, and boy, he's sideswiped him, taken him out of the equation.
But exactly the same thing that happened to Wayne Maxwell at race number 1 of the race number top 2 of the season.
Well, you know what they say, racing's rubbing and rubbing's racing, and you know, it's happened to Wayne before, it's now happened to Mad Mike. I'm sure there'll be some discussion about that. I'm glad we don't have to make the decisions. But meanwhile, back out front, it's the two arch nemesis out front. It's Honda versus Suzuki, and we've got another faller.
Is that
Starring, is it? Not sure.
Just trying to confirm who that is, but it looks like it's a big crash. Is that turn 1, or is that the exit of Siberia?
Yeah, hard to know. Kawasaki rider by the look of it. So we'll bring you the...
Looks like Starring has dropped way down the timesheet, so it could in fact be Brian Starring. So this could be a turning point in the championship, Steve Martin. But 2 of the top 6 runners have not finished. 3 of the top 6 runners have not finished this race. The championship has been thrown up into the air. What order is it going to come down in?
Well, the other story in this story is the privateer Kawasaki Connection rider, Matty Walters, is on for his first podium in this championship. He's in a pretty good position in 3rd place at the moment, close to the leaders and quite a fair gap to Josh Waters. Can he get his first podium this weekend? Here we go. The incident at Turn 5 is under investigation, as you would expect, and you would think that the Ducati team are already putting in a protest on that one. But back out front, it is Wayne Maxwell.
Maxwell leads Herfoss. The 2 former teammates make their way out of Turn 11, and these 2, I think it was... Mark Herfoss, Troy's dad, described it perfectly last year when they came to blows at Wakefield Park. They're just like brothers.
They're always coming to blows, aren't they? But they're always friends a few days afterwards. But it's always... But look at the Honda now. He's pulled up side by side and tries to dive up the inside of Wayne Maxwell. He can't do it. The Herfoss is on for the win this time out, and Maxwell knows he's there.
Well, Troy Herfoss has got the red mist visor fully engaged on that helmet of his at the moment as he makes his way round through Turn 2. He's carrying a lot of corner speed, is Troy Herfoss on the Penrite Honda. He's torturing that front tyre probably just as much as the rear, as the amount of corner speed that he's carrying. Oh, it's Marchiotto down as well on board the Penrite Honda. So there's a lot of crashes here. I think this is a sign of desperation. We're getting to the end of the championship, and everybody is riding as hard as they possibly can, and then some.
At the end of play, the winner out of these 2 will be the championship leader, I would say, if you look at it. What is there, 18
Jones came into this race with a 24-point lead over Crew Halliday. So if Wayne Maxwell wins, he will probably be 2 or 3 points off the championship lead. If Troy Herfoss wins, he will probably be 4 or 5 points off the championship lead.
All right, okay then.
We'll wait for CompuTime to confirm that at the end of the race, but it is all to play for now with... well, we've got, we're on lap 9. We're coming around to complete lap 9 now, so there's only 3 more laps to go after this race. Herfoss and Maxwell have got a substantial lead over Matt Walters in 3rd place, but Matt Walters is about to come under assault from Josh Waters and Daniel Falzon.
Yeah, Josh Waters has just done his fastest lap of the race, is 33.4. He knows that he's close to that podium.
And he knows that his end of race pace is very, very good.
Yeah, he's doing the same. He was almost the quickest man on track that time around, Josh Waters. He just blew the start again, and you know, once again, he should be with those 2 leaders, but he's right behind the Kawasaki rider now.
What you're saying about could be Matt Walters' first podium, could be Josh Waters' first podium for the year as well.
Absolutely. He's had plenty of
Who would have thought at spokes.com.au presents round 6 we'd be saying that, Steve Martin?
Well, that is true. You're absolutely right. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how much Matty Walters wants this. He's in a good position now for that podium. How hard will he fight? You can see him there with Daniel Falzon in the background. Falzon hasn't had a podium this year either.
So just looking at the body language of Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss, it's very hard to determine actually how hard Wayne Maxwell's riding, because he never looks any different. He always looks relaxed on the bike. His style doesn't lean the bike over as far as a rider like Troy Herfoss, who really clambers all over the bike and has got those long legs that he tries to manoeuvre the bike into the corners. You can see Troy Herfoss has got a lot of the elbows out sort of style, whereas Wayne Maxwell, very classic style, doesn't move around on the bike anywhere near as much.
No, it's going to be interesting. We're at a little bit of a staging time at the moment. Falzon's not out of this for that 3rd spot either. Matty Walters, he will be like giving it everything he's got right now to try and hold on to that podium position, and he's just had such a brilliant weekend, qualifying on the front row for the first time, and now dicing with these guys. Hats off to the Kawasaki Connection team.
Well, you can see the trees blowing there in the background. You can see the amount of dust around as Josh Waters tries to pull out of the slipstream of Matt Walters' Kawasaki Connection Rover coaches, Repsol Oils, Kawasaki, and they go two abreast through the corner. Waters comes back around the outside. Walters comes back around the outside of Walters, and then Waters tries to go back around the outside as they come into Suzuki corner, turn 2. We've got a three-way battle for second place, and the championship is up for grabs because we have so much action in this one race, probably more action in this one race than we've had all season in relation to front runners crashing out.
Absolutely. What a race we've got on our hands here at the moment. And how much does Matty Walters want that third spot? He wants it big time.
I think the way he went into that corner is a fair example of how desperate he wants it. We are on lap 11 of a 12-lap race. There is less than 9 kilometres to go as our leaders now make their way up through the hay shed, the KTM corner, and it is Wayne Maxwell ringing the absolute... Well, everything that bike's going, I think I was going to say, he's nearly ringing the right handlebar off the machine as he comes up through the hay shed now, and Troy Herfoss trying to find a way past.
Well, I reckon Herfoss has been lining him up into turn 2, into the Suzuki corner, and what a place to do it, to get the Suzuki into the Suzuki corner, which is turn 2, the southern loop here. So let's just keep an eye on that. He's either going to slip him down here, but he's definitely faster out of turn 1 and into 2, so that could be a good opportunity for Herfoss.
Last lap board about to come out for our race leader, Wayne Maxwell. He has got Troy Herfoss all over the back of him as they come down underneath the Melbourne Bridge and into turn 1 for the first time. Herfoss has a big lunge down the inside. He runs the Penrite Honda in fast into turn 1 and takes the lead over Wayne Maxwell. He needs to get a good lead around through the back end of this circuit because the Suzuki, if close enough, will be able to slipstream the Honda to the line. But the Honda, we know how fast it is through turn 12. If he can get a good run, he may very well do this.
Maxwell's got the pace up the inside. Look at that great drive out of Suzuki corner. He gets back in, but watch Herfoss into turn 4. He's got to take a dive. He goes on the outside. He won't do it there.
Maxwell was in the middle of the track. Herfoss had no way of getting up the inside as they start the last half of this lap. Just keeping our eye on it is Josh Waters now that has moved up into third position. Daniel Falzon in 4th and Matt Walters in 5th as Maxwell takes back the lead and says, right, you can chase me up the hill, Troy Herfoss, and you'll have to try a Wayne Maxwell-esque manoeuvre into turn 10 if you want this.
There he goes!
Oh, Herfoss down the inside of the hay shed. What a move.
That's a big move, but he pulls it off. We're getting serious now as we head over the hill into Pirelli. This is a big opportunity for Maxwell to take it back, and you can be assured he's going to try and dive up the outside. No, he's not. He's going to try and go around the inside. Maxwell's last opportunity now is a big drive out of turn 12.
Well, Herfoss knew that Maxwell was going to try it at one of his favourite overtaking opportunities there and positioned the Penrite Honda perfectly. We are round now through the final corner. Turn 12, it is Herfoss v Maxwell. Can Maxwell get the slipstream to the line and take the run?
Maxwell's got a good run. Maxwell's got a good run.
Can he pull out the slipstream? I think it's going to be very close on the line. I think Herfoss got it. Herfoss managed to out-drag him to the line, and he celebrates in style. The reigning champion is back.
What a race. You would say, Phil, wouldn't you?
I would say that, yes. Josh Waters finished in 3rd place as well, Steve Martin, with Daniel Falzon in 4th and Matt Walters a top 5, his best result of the year, as Glenn Allerton now comes across the line to take 6th position. A great ride, and good to see Glenn Allerton back after that very serious wrist injury that he suffered early on in the year. But Troy Herfoss takes the race win, does the fastest lap of the race, and puts himself well and truly back into championship contention as the two brothers give each other a slap on the back.
What a script. We're set up just beautifully heading into the final round now, aren't we, with a few points between everybody?
They could not have written a better script, Steve Martin, as we head down into the final round of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. But there is still race direction. Final race results are still being decided, considering the incident at turn 4.
Yeah, of course. There was that incident that needs to be investigated. I'm sure that Ducati will be locking horns with the officials, as will Suzuki, saying it was okay. We'll have to see and let the official staff sort that out.
This is where race direction come into their own, and that's their decision. They'll earn their money for this one.
Yeah, but for sure, whatever happens, Mike Jones won't be getting those 25 points back, or 20 points, or whatever position he was going to finish in that race. They're gone forever. So the question is, was it a fair pass, or will Wayne Maxwell be docked some points? We'll have to wait and see on that one.
Wayne Maxwell could very well be walking up to race direction with footage from round 1, race 2.
double Suzuki on the podium too.
And that's exactly what Phil Taton was talking about in race number 1, that they'd be loving to see a double podium for their riders here at Phillip Island. And Josh Waters, I think he's just announced that he's back in action as well, too, as we get down to the pointy end of the season. Well, race 1 highlights. Have we got half an hour, Steve Martin? Because there were so many highlights in this race. It was a great start from pole position for Mike Jones, who led them down into turn 1 for the first time. And unlike race number 1 earlier on this morning, Wayne Maxwell was not able to get past the rapper Desmo Sport Ducati at turn 2 and pull away to win the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great start by Mark Jones, and he managed to hold off on number 47 too. But look at Matt Walters on the Kawasaki Connection machine there. The privateer bike just sticking there in the background. But then this happened. You said it was impossible, but Wayne Maxwell wasn't listening to you. Straight up the inside there, and Maxwell takes the lead. Mike Jones relegated to second.
This was the first incident. Crew Halliday lost the front end at turn 10, the Pirelli corner, and unfortunately the man that was second place in the championship coming into this race was out of the equation, as Mike Jones, the championship leader, was holding off Wayne Maxwell.
Meanwhile, it was business back out front. Jonesy thought he had everything covered, but bang, up the inside. There was a hint how good the number 47 was into Honda corner.
Josh Waters up the inside of Daniel Falzon to start his march forward in the field as well, exactly the same as he did in race number 1. But the man on a charge at this point in time was Troy Herfoss, the reigning champion on bike number 1, the Penrite Honda CBR 1000 Fireblade.
Yeah, I have not seen him ride so fast, but look at the number 47 now. Drives up the inside, gets a great drive there, sticks in the slipstream. But once again, this is the corner where all the action was. And Wayne Maxwell got on the gas and bang, collision. And, of course, that incident there is the one that is under investigation.
Which left Herfoss and Maxwell to fight out the race win. They were a mile ahead of the rest of the field. Maxwell took the lead, then Herfoss took the lead, and this battle too went down to the wire for third place. It was Matt Walters that led a majority of the battle, but over Josh Waters and Daniel Falzon as they came across the line to start the final laps. You could tell that Matt Walters was just hanging on as hard as he could as the 3-time Australian champion Josh Waters came down the inside to mount his assault. But Waters said, no, you're not going to get it that easy.
No, he was definitely fighting for it. But back out front, it was Honda versus Suzuki. Suzuki versus Honda. And Herfoss made a dive into turn 1. We weren't expecting that. We thought it would happen at turn 2. At this point, he got a bit of a bubble, but Maxwell got great drive. And a place where we know he's fast in this circuit, into Kawasaki corner, he managed to get back past Herfoss again. And at that point, I think he thought it was all safe until Herfoss struck back in another unexpected spot.
That's a spot where you have a good chassis. You can make an overtaking manoeuvre, and Troy Herfoss, who has got so much confidence in the K-Tech suspension on that Penrite Honda, just shoehorned it up the inside. He came through turn 12 with everything on the limit and then some. We thought Maxwell might have been able to get into the slipstream and pull out with the superior top speed of the Phil Taton prepared Suzuki, but Herfoss planned it to perfection and took the race win by 0.028 of a second over Wayne Maxwell. So, no further action between the incident between bike number 46 and 47. So, Wayne Maxwell will take second position, 0.028 of a second behind our race winner, Troy Herfoss. Josh Waters in third. Congratulations to Team Suzuki X-Star Australia, a double podium. And Daniel Falzon takes fourth place. Matt Walters in fifth, his best race result of the year so far, in a fantastic weekend for the privateer team. Glenn Allerton on the Next Gen Motorsports BMW S1000 RR in sixth. Damon Rees, Al Phillips, Lachlan Epis and Sloane Frost round out the top 10. Let's hear from our top 3. There with Emma. Well, we're just waiting to hear from our top 3 at the moment. I think the wind's playing havoc with all things technical here this weekend. One more race to go on today's program, Steve Martin. I'll tell you what, if it's another one like that, we may need to get race safe down to the commentary box.
Well, absolutely. My heart rate is still going through the roof. And, I mean, I just cannot believe the action that we had in that one. It was absolutely incredible stuff.
Well, Supersport is coming up. Let's have a look at some of the young up-and-coming riders in the Supersport category.
It's the Motorsports TV Supersport class, and to say that the racing is exciting is an understatement. The racing is always epic. Plenty of young talent in the lane too, including these guys right here. Nick Leamington, Ollie Bayliss, Brock Pearson, fighting for that second and third position in the championship. First question to you boys, who's going to land second?
Of course, me.
That'll be me.
Yeah, no, me.
Ollie, what's your racing ritual?
So, I mean, I get suited up, do some stretching, do some yoga, bit of meditation,
And then, I mean, actually every time I put my helmet on, I need to scream. It just helps get the nerves out of me, and then I get on my bike and hopefully go fast.
Yeah, I reckon I tried Bikram yoga like a few years ago. It wasn't my thing, but it's obviously Ollie's, so I'll let him do it, and if that's what works, that's what works.
Nick, are these guys as cheeky on the racetrack as they are down the paddock?
Oh, they're always jokesters in the paddock, but when we're out on track, there's always respect between riders, but we're always tough out on track for sure.
Between the three of you, have there ever been any heated moments?
I do remember getting up the inside of Nick and he burned me on the way out and I thought, crap, that was all right. And yeah, he got me there, so I remember that one, but that's pretty much it for the year, yeah.
Nick, any moments with these guys?
Yeah, definitely some close calls, but none big enough to ruin their friendship, so yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, no big ones.
That's sweet. When it comes to qualifying, do you guys ever play any games with each other?
Yeah, we do. It's pretty hard because, you know, you try and get in someone's toe and they pull up or pit coming in the pits, and then it sort of stuffs your strategy. But yeah, of course, we sort of do try, but it's pretty hard to get that to go to plan, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last round I got Brock with a good one, and so I was sort of just waiting outside pit lane, and so was he, and I just pretended to my guys that I'm running in to get on my bike, and about 30 seconds later he pulled straight out, so I was like, yep, that's right, Brock.
Oh, yeah, there's always little mind games going on in qualifying. These two trying to get toes from me in qualifying is too dangerous, can't let them.
All right, guys, well, I hope you have as much fun out on the track as I've had in this interview. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emma. We're going racing now.
Welcome back to Phillip Island. The Spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championships. Motorsports TV Supersport is on track and ready for their final race of the weekend. In race number 1, we saw Tom Taparis take out the 2019 Motorsports TV Australian Supersport Championship with a measured ride to take the race win after his race-long challenger Nick Leamington crashed out at the top of Lukey Heights, the YMI corner. And unfortunately, Nick Leamington didn't finish that race. But the good news is, Steve Martin, he's back out there on the grid and probably about as pumped up as is humanly possible at the moment.
Well, absolutely. He was the only guy that could run with Tom Taparis, the new champion. And, boy, he had a great ride out there right up until there was about 750 metres to go of the race. So, you know, I'm sure he's pumped. This is going to be an exciting race because Taparis has won the championship. He's got nothing to lose. Leamington, well, he's got nothing to lose either. So I've got a feeling we're going to see those two guys absolutely on the limit. And then, of course, Jack Pasfeld. What a race he's had as well. We haven't seen him. He hasn't been anywhere all year. But all of a sudden, bang, he's up there now, Phil. He really, you know, has found his mojo.
Yeah, he scored his first podium in race number 1, along with Aidan Hayes, who starts out of row 3 on board bike number 46. But Brock Pearson now, if anything in race number 1, has consolidated second place in the championship over Nick Leamington with a decent haul of points for Brock Pearson and Nick Leamington with the DNF. But we've just seen an incredible Kawasaki Superbike race. Time to head down to Emma in the pits. She's with our top 3.
Just going through results.
Here we go.
Yeah. Wow, let's give that race a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That was absolutely sensational racing. Technical issue. Just stand by for technical issue, everyone. Stand by.
Get the excitement going again.
Testing, testing, testing. We're okay, testing.
Well, sounds like we've got some sort of technical issue down there with Park for May. Hopefully we'll hear from our top 3 very, very shortly. As you can see there, 3 minutes to go until the start of Motorsports TV Supersport, the final race on today's program. And to Steve, I know we were speaking on the way here this weekend, we're talking about what a pivotal weekend it is in the championship, the penultimate round, one of the best tracks in the world. So far this weekend, all of the scenarios have played out. Some of the front runners have had bad weekends. The people that are chasing have had great weekends. Championships are on the line now. One of them's already been won, and one of them is hanging in the balance even more so than what it was coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was just an incredible race. And I mean, like coming into this race now, like this Supersport race is, you know, it's just going to be incredible. Although this one's done, you know, you've got guys like Ty Lynch here, podium last time out. And he's another guy that could, you know, he's just like a click of suspension or a click of something away from being a constant front runner. And when you see guys like Jack Pasfield just in front of him there who've come from dicing back in the pack to winning, it spurs on those guys. So,
well, and also, too, you have a look there, the last round, Brock Pearson on the podium. Richie Dibben, the Kiwi, challenging for the podium on a privately funded Suzuki. Great to see another Kiwi coming over here and having a great ride, just as Damon Rees has all year, and also this weekend qualifying in the top 12 in Superbike. Let's have a look at the championship points now, though. Tom Taparis wrapped up the Motorsports TV Australian Supersport Championship, as we mentioned. He cannot be beaten now on 325 points. Brock Pearson on 231 has a sizable lead over Nick Leamington for second place in the championship. And now Nick Leamington has Ollie Bayliss only 7 points behind. Imagine if both of those riders had have actually finished race number 1 earlier on today. Aidan Hayes has moved up into 5th place. Dallas Skier into 6th. Reed Batty, unfortunately, not here this weekend with injury in 7th place. Ty Lynch in 8th. Jack Pasfield and Chris Quinn, the veteran from northern New South Wales, rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive top 10 in the field there. But for Nick Leamington, I don't think he's worried about whether he finishes 2nd or 3rd now. I think that in the championship results, I think for him it's all about trying to beat Tom Taparis. Let's face it, if you can beat Tom Taparis, you can beat a world-class 600 rider. And Nick is the only guy in that field that's been able to do it this year so far. He's done it once. He stayed with him here at Phillip Island.
He very nearly did it again.
He nearly did it again. And I tell you what, let's hope we haven't had time to catch up with him since his last, he fell off, had a fairly big crash in race 1, but looks like he's out there. Let's hope he's got everything back together and we can see a splendid race between all the competitors out there.
It has been a great season for Tom Taparis, but the one rider in this class that has really excited me more than everybody else in his debut year in the championship, the youngest ever rider to compete in the Australian Supersport Championship, Ollie Bayliss. You're almost asking yourself now, what is this kid capable of after his debut season, and especially the last round at Winton Motor Raceway, and the pace that he has showed here this weekend as well. I think we're on the cusp of something very exciting when it comes to young Ollie Bayliss. Well, with a name like Bayliss, probably no surprise, but I think the speed that he has shown so quickly in this championship is surprising. As we mentioned, Tom Taparis will start from pole position with Nick Leamington in second, and Jack Passfield on the podium for the first time in race number 1 on row 1 as well, starting out of position number 3.
Ollie Bayliss, we were talking about him before, in 4th position, row 2. Also, Ty Lynch, another good result for him, hopefully this time out. The man second in the championship, Brock Pearson, starts from 6th.
Aidan Hayes, Richie Dibbett and Jack Hyde on row 3. Can Aidan Hayes make it 2 podiums from 2 races?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope he can. Reese Belling, Avalon Biddle from New Zealand. Hopefully she'll be back for the final round as well. Dallas Gear in 12th position.
Brodie Maloof, Callum O'Brien making his debut this weekend on a Supersport machine out of row 5 in position 14, and John Quinn, the Victorian, on board his Triumph, the only Triumph in the field, out of position number 15.
Tim Donnan from South Australia on the Suzuki GSX-R, and 16th and 17th is Ryan Sellen.
Yeah, on board the BC Performance Kawasaki. The riders now make their way through Yamaha Revjahat corner and down to take up their positions on the grid. Tom Taparis is the Motorsports TV Supersport champion. What can he do in this race? I know that he wants to beat the long-standing 10-year, in fact, lap record set by Brian Starring on a hot rod Supersport machine back when engine work was allowed in the Australian Supersport Championship. But this is his last chance to do it, and he's wearing the number 1 plate as well.
And why wouldn't you? What a great thing to do. He earns it, so pop it on.
Well, Tom Taparis, the champion, starts from pole position. Nick Leamington and Jack Passfield on the front row of the grid. We are ready to go. Supersport is go. Steve Martin as we make our way off the line. A great start from Jack Passfield. In fact, he will lead them underneath the Melbourne Bridge. Can he hold it through turn 1 as the rest of the field comes storming through? And it is Brock Pearson. Sorry, Brock Pearson came up the inside, but I think it's Nick Leamington that's gone around the outside and will lead them through turn 1 for the first time. And no surprise to see Tom Taparis around the outside as they come in towards turn 2. I think Taparis is all pumped up. He's going to show what a dominant factor he has been in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. All that pressure gone. Aidan Hayes got a ripper of a start too. He's up in 4th place at the moment. Brock Pearson behind him, and Richie Dibbett from New Zealand on the Suzuki, the number 119 machine. You can just see him there on the outside of your screen now.
Oh, Hayes up the inside of Passfield down into turn 4, the YMI corner as they make their way through on this first lap of 10 for Motorsports TV Supersport. Through Siberia, the YMF corner, and it's the long drive up the hill now. This is where that headwind, or the tailwind down the straight, Steve Martin, is a headwind as you make your way towards the top of the hill.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see Ollie Bayliss in that bunch. It looks like he's down in 16th position, so I'm not sure if he's injured himself from that crash earlier on or if there's a problem with his bike, but it doesn't look like Ollie Bayliss is going to feature in this one.
The way he's so far behind, he may have even done a clutch or something off the line.
Yeah, or run off into turn 1. He's done that before.
Yeah, unfortunately, he didn't make it through the race number 1 because of a turn 1 incident, but it is our champion for 2019, Tom Taparis, that leads Nick Leamington as they make their way through turn 12 and down the start-finish straight, the Motul Pirelli straight this weekend for the first time.
Absolutely. Taparis leads the way with Leamington in 2nd position. Now, what has Leamington got this time round? After that crash that he had, can he hang on to the coattails of the number 1 machine?
Well, we're going to find out whatever he's got, because Tom Taparis has brought everything to this one race now to try and take that lap record. 42.3 from the standing start for Tom Taparis. In fact, the only other rider in the 42s from the standing start was Nick Leamington as they make their way round through turn 2 for the first time. Time for an update from the pits. Emma?
Guys, just an update on Ollie Bayliss. They're actually working tirelessly on the grid after that big crash that he had from race 1, and he came back through for a fuel stop as well.
All right, so Ollie Bayliss, it's going to be all about lap times for him and experience in this last race, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of work to be done on that bike, and I tell you, he is, as you said, and we have built him up. Although he's not going to feature in this race, he's one to watch for the future. He's going to be a champion, just like his dad was.
KTM corner now. It is Tom Taparis that leads Nick Limington. They're starting to eke out a small gap. Aidan Hayes is going with them, though, on board the 46 Yamaha right behind. And Jack Passfield doing a great job as well. These two are going to show, or desperate to show, that podium for both of them in race number 1 wasn't a fluke, that they deserve to be on that podium, and they are riding incredibly well. They're in the 43s. Brock Pearson in position number 5 at the moment, in the mid-44s on that standing start. We're coming round now to complete the first flying lap. This is going to be a real indication of outright pace with these guys now pinning the ears back. There is nothing left in the tank.
Nick Limington dragging his elbow on the ground through turn 12. How do you do that? That's pretty impressive stuff.
I only seem to do it when I'm crashing.
Yeah, well, me too. But Aidan Hayes and Jack Passfield, they're in a bit of a battle. They both know what it's like to finish on the podium now. And I'll tell you, I reckon that Jack will be looking to back up his race 1 performance from today.
Well, through Suzuki corner they come. Aidan Hayes and Jack Passfield battling for that last place on the podium. First flying lap for Tom Taparis, a 1:36.482.
And down the hill they go through into the YMI corner, through Kawasaki, and hard on the brakes. Tom Taparis is looking pretty smooth, and surprisingly, Nick Limington's looking smooth too. Unfortunately, Tim Donnan from South Australia has gone down at turn 6. The rider's up and okay, but Tim Donnan is going to have the walk of shame back home to South Australia, unfortunately for him. But great to see him here this weekend. He's a part-time racer in our championship. But Tom Taparis is stretching it out now, isn't he? That pressure's gone. The leader Yamaha rider is really putting the hammer down on that R6. 36.4 first flying lap for him. That's a fast lap.
It's a fast lap in these conditions too, Steve Martin, with the gusty wind that's pushing the bikes all around the place. You can see every rider that's been out there this weekend has spoken about the windy conditions and how they're affecting the bikes at different areas of the track. As we watch now, bike number 85, Ty Lynch, has had a fantastic last couple of rounds on the podium at the last round of championship at Winton Motor Raceway. And just behind Jack Hyde on board bike number 28. And the real star, really, of Winton. He came from absolutely nowhere to be running up in podium positions. Richie Gibbon on board the Suzuki bike number 119, the Kiwi. Well, Kiwis can fly, Steve Martin, and it's being proven here once again by Richie Gibbon.
Absolutely. Not only Richie Gibbon, we've got Avalon Biddle here this weekend as well in this class, and then Sloane Frost racing in the Superbike class.
Yeah, Avalon Biddle having a bit of a battle back there with Callum O'Brien. Good to see Callum O'Brien, who seems to have grown about a foot in the last year, making his way onto the Supersport machine after starting out the year on board the Supersport 300 Kawasaki Ninja. But now he's on board a Supersport machine, been doing plenty of practice over there in Western Australia, and thought it was time to make his debut in the Motorsports TV Supersport class.
Yeah, it's Aidan Hayes now who's in that 3rd position at the moment, and looking pretty smooth and comfortable out there with Jack Passfield just on the back wheel, Brock Pearson behind him. Don't know what's wrong with Brock, because normally you would expect to see him further up the field than what he is at the moment, wouldn't you?
I've actually walked past the pit a couple of times, and they always seem to be working on something on the bike, trying to figure out something. There's Ollie Bayliss back into the pit, so obviously some sort of problem after that massive turn 1 incident where that bike looked like it was ready for the wrecking yard when we saw a picture of it.
Yep.
So the Cube Racing Performance team have done an unbelievable job just to get that bike back out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job, great work, but unfortunately, yeah, not to be. And there goes the number 1 machine, Tom Taparis, heading over the line. 36.3 last time round. That's the quickest lap of the race so far. Nowhere near the lap record of 35.2. At least Brian Starring's taking a breath at the moment.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, that in these gusty conditions, you wouldn't expect him to be able to get anywhere near that 10-year lap record.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, the spec of the bikes has changed a little bit too. They're a lot more standard than they were back in the day when Starring did that impressive time. But to be fair, I think the qualifying time of Tom Taparis was very close to that. Tom qualified at a 35.4, a second quicker than anybody.
Well, we saw Ollie Bayliss come back into the pits. He's with Emma.
I mean, we got taken out in the first race, so there's not so much we can really do about it. The team worked the hardest they could to try and get it back on track, and they did a great job, but the bike was just too bent to ride, and if I went out there, it'd be dangerous to everyone else, so I just thought the safe thing to do would be come in.
Good call. Chin up. See you at SMP.
Cheers.
Well, age and experience well beyond his years from Ollie Bayliss.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't hear the backstory of why, you know, these incidents has happened. Obviously, he's had a coming together with someone in that earlier race today. We didn't see that incident, but it's knocked him off and unfortunately ruined his weekend.
We only saw the aftermath of that incident, and that was one extremely second-hand Yamaha YZF-R6 in the gravel trap at Turn 1. And Steve Martin, Turn 1, one of the fastest corners on this track, and not a place that you'd like to crash. No, definitely not. So good to see him up, and good to see you know, the fighting spirit of him and the team to get himself back out there. But meanwhile, it is Aidan Hayes who's behind Jack Passfield now. So that battle for the last spot in the podium is certainly heating up. 38-2 for Passfield last time through. That's 0.4 quicker than the man behind him, Aidan Hayes. And we've just passed half race distance. 5 laps complete. 5 laps to go for Motorsports TV Supersport class. Final race in today's program for the Supersport category. And only 2 more races to go in the championship. So there's only 51 more points up for grabs for those riders that are desperate to try and secure 2nd, 3rd place in the championship. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting little battle as the laps dwindle down. I wouldn't be surprised if Aidan Hayes, knowing that he's in with a shot on this podium, just dips up the inside, tries to find the point where he can get past the man in front. He's got to wonder what it's going to do for 2 riders coming into this round that would have been hoping to maybe get a top 5 after their results this year, to both be on the podium in race number 1, and then once again in race number 2 battling for another podium. They could make it 2 podiums for themselves for the weekend. And at the same time, they can see the leaders that have really set the benchmark in 2019. They're not too far up the road. It's funny how this racing works, because like the way that it works is like you ride around and you seem to be miles off the winner, and then before you know it, you're getting a sniff at a podium. Like, it never happens overnight, but you sort of like eke your way forward, and that's what these guys have done throughout their careers, and both relatively short careers. And it won't be long before we're talking about these guys every weekend, day in, day out at different tracks. You know, they're both really talented riders. They just need to get experience with these 600s. It's a lot different to riding the smaller bikes and capacities that we have. A 4-cylinder 600's got a lot more power, a lot more drive, and a lot more electronics to play with than the smaller classes. So both of these guys are doing a great job out there. Just having a look at the lap times, Tom Chaparis is still lapping in the 36s. Nick Leamington's dropped back into the 37s, and that's why there is now a 2.2 second race lead for Tom Chaparis over Nick Leamington, who in turn has about 4.6 seconds over this battle for 3rd place, with Aidan Hayes now taking back the running in 3rd position, and that last place on the podium over Jack Passfield. Behind Jack Passfield is Brock Pearson in 5th position. Then it's Ty Lynch, Richie Dibben, Jack Hyde, Reece Belling and Dallas Skier rounding out the top 10. Another good result for South Australian Dallas Skier, who, yeah, I was talking to his dad this morning. He really has had a difficult weekend, so a top 10 will give him a little bit of confidence heading into the last round. Yeah, absolutely. He's another one to watch for the future. He's getting quicker and quicker as the races go by. So Dallas Skier on the Suzuki, definitely a good front runner. Reed Batty, unfortunately, who's prominently up the front, not here this weekend after the incident that he had at Winton last time out, colliding with Nick Leamington in one of the races there. Good that he's on the mend, and I'm sure that we'll see him back very soon. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back at Sydney Motorsport Park. Unfortunately, Avalon Biddle's race has ended early. Her Yamaha R6 is back in the garage, and so hopefully we'll see her at Sydney Motorsport Park as well. She's been a welcome addition to the championship since she made her debut in round 3 at the Bend Motorsport Park in South Australia. Well, she's not only been welcome, she's been very fast everywhere she's been, hasn't she? She has. I can remember the race, and she was right up there at Tailem Bend. Incredible. I think she was in the battle for 4th and 5th position. Yeah, she's certainly a fast, fast rider. Well, the reigning New Zealand Supersport champion, in fact. And she will be heading back, of course, to partake in that championship, which is heading off over this summer. But it is Aidan Hayes up the inside. Jack Passfield
Still looking for the way past with a few laps to go in this one. A couple of laps left to go. Who's it going to be? Who's your money on?
Well, nothing has separated these two pretty much all weekend. They qualified next to each other on the grid. They were on the podium in race number 1, and here we are in the dying stages of race number 2, and there is literally nothing to separate them. They've swapped positions many times over the course of this race, and I think both of them are now trying to just feel each other out and maybe keep something in the tank for a last lap assault.
Absolutely, and it looks like Jack Passfield just over the top of the hill into Pirelli corner there. Just biding his time, sitting on the back wheel of Aidan Hayes. Aidan's been around a little bit too. Started off on the R3, didn't he? A few years ago now. What was it, 15, 16?
And then he rode for, he rode Supersport for a while. Then he rode for Cube Racing on board the Kawasaki. Then he had a few, probably a year or so off away from racing. Missed it too much, prepared a couple of brand new Yamaha R6s when they came out, came back, did a couple of track days, got back into racing, and here he is not too much after that, and he's battling for a podium in the Australian Supersport Championship.
He held the throttle on there into the YMF Turn 1 here at Phillip Island as well. Just managed to keep that third position at the moment that both of these guys are fighting over. Jack Passfield now, as they enter turn lap 9 of 10, is got to be starting to think, boy, where am I going to do this?
And yet also, a big reason why we're so happy to see young riders like this getting a good result is because they haven't got a massive team of people helping them here this weekend. A lot of them family-run affairs, 1 or 2 guys to help you out with the bike. You do a lot of work on it yourself, so a podium is even more satisfying when you've prepared the bike. You've been spending the late nights in the shed, Steve, to get the bike out here and get it ready, and then you manage to put it up on the podium as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's all that hard work goes into it. I guess where someone like Tom Taparis has got, I'm not saying a big team of guys working on his bike, but he certainly has got a lot more help than a lot of the guys in this class. He's earned it, though. You've got to say, don't you?
Well, he is pushing the boundary and then some. Tom Taparis, as we mentioned, he's been doing racing overseas. He's raced, in fact, in 3 races, in 3 race meetings in 3 different countries in the last 3 weekends. And here he is coming through Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner to get the last lap board at the championship winning round for him. The Spokes.com.au presents round 6, the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship here at the iconic Phillip Island circuit. One more 4.45 kilometre tour to go for Tom Taparis to finish off a memorable weekend, not only in his racing career, but also in his whole entire life. He'll remember the day that he won his first Australian Championship.
Especially won his first race with the number 1 at the front of the bike. But Jack Passfield looks up the inside now. What a great move by Jack Passfield. He knocks Aidan Hayes wide. He wants this, he really does. Now, how will Aidan Hayes fight back? He's definitely going to be...
I think he knows now how much he's going to have to fight to get this.
He certainly will have to, and he's lining him up for a dive up the inside into turn 4, and he's hard on the brakes. Aidan Hayes goes in. That front is on the limit, but he holds it together.
Well, Aidan Hayes raced here a few weeks ago at the Victorian Championship round and had some good, strong results as well. So he's prepared himself impeccably for this race, and he now leads the battle for third place as they make their way out of the YMF corner and up through KTM, up towards the top of the circuit. There is really only 1 or 2 more overtaking opportunities for Jack Passfield to try and find his way past in that battle for the podium. But here is your champion, ladies. Here is your champion. Here is your race winner. And Tom Taparis is coming round to take another victory in the 2019 Motorsports TV Supersport Championship.
Yeah, what a weekend. What a year it's been for Tom Taparis. It's been incredible. He's just the future of our sport. And I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in this field next year. He is hot property. Tom Taparis wins the race.
Congratulations to Tom Taparis. As we look to see now Nick Limington come across the line to secure second position. He does that, comes across the line. The eventual margin, 5.6 seconds. And Aidan Hayes just manages to hold off on the run to the line. Jack Passfield, a charging Jack Passfield in the battle for the last place on the podium. And in the end, Steve Martin, there was 3/100ths of a second between those two as they came across the line. I don't even know if that's the front tyre width of the Yamaha R6.
Not much, that's for sure. But one thing's for sure, they had a pretty interesting race together, and that was, you know, a whole lot of fun.
So Tom Taparis takes the race win from Nick Limington by 5.6 seconds. Aidan Hayes takes the last place on the podium over Jack Passfield by 3/100ths of a second. And Richie Dibben rounds out the top 5. A great ride from the Kiwi on board the Suzuki GSXR. Brock Pearson, Ty Lynch, Jack Hyde and Reece Belling, along with Dallas Gear, round out the top 10 for the final race from this round 6 decider at the Australian Supersport Championship. Plenty more action to come here from Phillip Island. A short break and back to hear from our top 3. Do I mention... Welcome back to Phillip Island, and the spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We have just seen the final race for Motorsports TV Supersport at the 6th round of the championship. A new champion was crowned today. Let's hear from him. He's with Emma.
Thank you very much, Phil. Yes, Tom Taparis, you're already the champion, but hey, let's just go get one more race win. Why not?
Yeah, thank you, Emma. Yeah, what a weekend it's been. Like, we just beat the weather, then we were lucky, but yeah, the bike was really good all weekend. The guys did such a good job, my team. Sam, Marty, Robbie, my family, my dad and my mum are here also. And yeah, my family watching back home and overseas, also my team. Just everyone, thank you so much for what a great season it's been. I'm so rapt to get the championship this morning and then, yeah, topped off with a race win this afternoon. So proud of everyone, so proud of my team and just very happy to have the number one on my bike.
Your mum had tears in her eyes before. Your parents, they're just so proud. It's great to see they travel all around the world with you. And, yeah, now watching you here win the championship today.
Yeah, I'm so lucky to have such a good family and I'm so lucky to do this sport. we all love it, I guess. Everyone loves it, and yeah, lucky to travel the world and do what I love. So thanks again to everyone.
Just finally, at the start of the season, you said you were going to shave your head if you won the championship. Are you a man of your word?
Did I actually say that?
I swear you did. Let's play it back.
Maybe next round you can do it if you want. Go for it.
Tom DeForest, congratulations, champion for 2019. Well done.
Thanks a lot, Emma. Cheers.
All right, well, that wraps a huge day of racing here. It goes down to the wire at SMP from the 1st to the 3rd of November. We cannot wait to see who takes out the 2019 Kawasaki Superbike Championship. Still got to wrap up Supersport 300 as well. So make sure you get on down to Sydney Motorsport Park. asbk.com.au is where you can find all the info and to stay up to date in the meantime. Make sure you check out all of our socials. Also for all the other MA events, ma.org.au. Thank you very much to the team. Thank you to it all at home for watching. Cannot wait to see you at SMP. Nick Leamington, congratulations. Another podium at which some very important points needed towards that championship, so well done.
Yeah, definitely. It was good to get that second place then. I really thought I was going to get that race win in the first race, felt really confident, but unfortunately we had to carry that crash tyre into this race and I just couldn't take it to Tom this time. But yeah, still really positive in second place.
See you in Sydney.
See ya. Thank you.
And in 3rd position, welcome back to the podium. What a day and a weekend it's been for you, Aidan Hayes. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And thanks to everyone at home who's been supporting me and all my sponsors and everyone who tuned in and watched today to cheer me on. Thank you.
Looking forward to SMP?
Oh, I can't wait. It's my home track and I really like that track. So I'm keen to get out there and battle.
See you there. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations to our top 3. Aidan Hayes, 2 podiums for the weekend. If you had have told him, Braxy, at the beginning of the weekend that he'd be coming into Phillip Island and he'd score 2 podiums, he'd probably get you to put on one of those shirts that buttons up at the back.
No, I saw him down here at the Victorian Championships. Him, Jack Pasfield and Ollie Bayliss had some great battles. And Aidan had that year off and he's come back bigger and better. And I think now that Tom's gone from the Aussie Supersport Championship, next year could be a real cracker. My early tip, Nick Leamington to take it out next year.
Well, the other thing that we've seen in the Kawasaki Superbike class was that all of the championship runners this year have had their fair share of bad luck. The couple of riders that hadn't had bad luck was Mike Jones and Crew Halliday. They had their bad luck at the end of the year as opposed to the start of the year like all of the others.
And it's all the yig and the yang has evened out.
So everything's up in the air going into the championship decider at Sydney Motorsport Park. But the same thing happened in the first 2 races of the Horsell Sidecars as well, because championship leader Corey Turner won the first race and then had an engine problem. And,
you know what it was?
Was way back in the second one.
Electrode of the spark plug fell off and went down into the bowels of the engine. And they just caught it in time, but they had to change the engine and put a standard one in it. But going back to the Superbike, 5th championship leader in 6 rounds.
Perfect. Couldn't have written a better script.
No, not at all.
Whoever wrote the script for the Kawasaki Superbike class in 2019 has done a magnificent job.
Troy Herfoss has done well, hasn't he?
Oh, I think right, so Horsell Sidecars getting ready to go for their 3rd and final race of the weekend.
And this is good. We've got the boys coming up because it's not a progressive grid. Unfortunately for Corey and Daniel Turner, they managed to hold on to pole position in their short outfit, the 1000cc machine. But we've got the Rick Hanger machines in there as well from Western Australia as they take off with the boys 16 points in the front with one race to go.
So as we blast our way down towards turn one for the first time, it is the Turner brothers that lead. But so many fast sidecars in this, and so many historic names in Australian racing in there. Braxy with Mick Alton, Chrissy Clancy, and well, it's a Clancy affair really in this race, isn't it?
Because we've had a big one off there, as that was Gerard Joyce, was
bike
it?
Number 24, Gerard Joyce for sure. He was lucky to keep that bike rubber side down.
Bit of a tag is going through there, and I wonder if that was with his state mate Evans and Scott. They've been battling each other. They're both in Rick Hanger design machines, both with 1000cc Kawasaki's. Rick Hanger, he's the LCR man. Oh, Mick Alton locking it up going into turn number 4 on bike number 54.
Was that a battle between the reigning Australian F2 champion and the reigning Australian F1 champion there?
That's about right. And we're going to see a brand new, well, we might see, here we go as we look on the screens of a replay of that. And that was, we see him getting tagged. It wasn't Evans and Scott. I think that was Brown and Clancy, actually. Brown and Darren Sheldrick that were just in front of him then. On the that is the Matty McKinnon machine that tagged them on the way out. As now, look at our leaders, Corey and Daniel Turner. They could be the youngest Formula One champions and probably the lightest. And if they win this, if they've got the 16 points up their sleeve, but also in the Formula 2 championship, Phil, young Clancy is going to be crowned the Australian Formula 2 champion.
I think when I looked at the points, though, too, we could have a Clancy trifecta in the Australian F2 championship.
The young Clancy, the son of Chrissy and John, will be the youngest ever champion because he's only 16 or just turned 17.
I think Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy were also in the top 3 in that championship as well, weren't they? And, and also John Clancy was third
with Warren Grubb. Yep.
So it could be a Clancy block out in the podium positions for the F2 championship. When was the last time that ever happened?
Well, no, not in living memory. That's another bit of history coming up for the Australian Sidecar Championships, proudly presented by Horsell Consulting. And at the moment, we've got the Turner boys out in front with a pretty handy lead now of 3 seconds, as we've got 7 laps of this event. They're on their second lap. And here's a bit of a break up from Underwood and Collins as they come through. Collins on the inside. Well, one of the legends of Australian motorcycling, actually, Bruce Collins Motorcycles, part of the Melbourne motorcycle scene for decades. But they had some great racing here, and I had to laugh at Corey Turner and his brother Daniel when we saw them at the Inline Cafe as we have a look at the replay here. Bit of brake lock up there from bike number 17 going in, and there, Darren Sheldrick having another good look as well. Underwood and Sheldrick there going through. They're not holding anything back as this is their final race for the year. You might as well throw it all out there.
And you've got to wonder what happened to Phil Underwood and Steve Ford in qualifying, because they qualified back in 10th position. They're up there battling for, I think, 4th and 5th position at the moment.
I think the weather was the big catch-up on that one.
Yeah, right, so because it wasn't the best conditions early on in the weekend. Just having a look at qualifying conditions. Said the track was dry, but temperature was only about 20 degrees, so not too conducive to a lot of grip when you've got so much power being put through that rear tyre. There's the reigning champion, Howard Ford.
And Lee Menzies. They've been a team together for a number of years. Even surprised me that there's still a team after Lee got flung out at Eastern Creek a few years ago. Remember that?
And they also wrapped up the championship here at this corresponding round last year, when it was in fact the final round of the championship. And
I don't know if you saw too much of the 2 races yesterday, Phil, but the corner speed of Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy, giving away 400 cc's to these bigger 1000cc Kawasaki's and Suzuki's, is just monumental to be watching them.
Well, here comes Evans and Scott on the Rick Hanger racing machine, starting to really catch up now onto the back of our race leaders. Well, the Turner brothers, Corey and Daniel.
Outside the area, but Corey and Daniel on a standard engine Suzuki at the moment. They've got 16-point lead at the moment going into this one, so they can afford to drop it over this. The Western Australians, the Sandgropers, having a big hit at them as they come through. They were Scott and Evans first and second. Graham Evans and Jared Scott on that Rick Hanger machine. Trying round the outside and talking to the boys at the Inline 4 Cafe on Thursday afternoon, they said, the short outfits aren't really good around here. You need the long outfits for the corner speed. And unfortunately, with the standard engine, that's coming to the fore now as Graham Evans and his offsider Scott exit turn number 10. Through up there into a Yamaha, gives you revs your heart corner, and nice little replay there of them going under brakes. And well worth the trip from Western Australia.
Well, and also for the Turners, well worth the trip down from Queensland. They could be on track to wrap up their first Australian championship in the sidecar racing, and they've got a big history in that family of sidecar racing, so great to see them get a good result.
Yeah, and with that now, that'll be down to an 11-point lead in the championship, and still got another 10 points to play with.
That's it. They could probably even afford to drop back a couple of positions behind this pair of Mick Alton and...
Told you about his corner speed, Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy.
Well, no surprise there. I've seen Mick Alton enough over the years to know that he carries a hell of amount of corner speed, and also the fact that he's got a passenger that's been with him for many, many years on the outfit, doing a great job as per usual as well.
And this will be the last time we see Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy in a race in Australia. Well, for the next year anyway, because they're heading over to... nice one up the inside. They're heading over to Europe to contest the European rounds, a couple of rounds of the World Championship and the German Championship next year, but no visit to the Isle of Man of what they become. And as we see that Ford and Menzies up the inside, if you can do that, we can do it better.
I think that was the power of the big F1 machine on the run out of turn 4, the YMI corner on the run out towards through MA corner and into Siberia there that got Howard Ford back into the lead. But look at Alton close up once again. And who is that closing in from behind? Is that... Pat Collins? Oh no, it's Brown and Sheldrick, is it, on bike number 15?
Yep, they're coming through as well. But I asked Mick Alton yesterday, when are we going to see you back on the Formula 1 machine? Because he used to campaign Formula 1 machines quite some years ago. And he said, these Formula 2 machines are so much fun. He said, the corner speed of them. He said, I love these too much to even worry about going and getting a Formula 1 machine again. He said, I like sticking it up the big boards.
And he does it quite regularly, Braxton. So around through, we come through turn 12, the Yamaha Red Hut corner. A bit of a puff of smoke there from...
Jero Joyce and, Corey Blackman. They were the 2016, 2017 Australian Sidecar Championship champions. They're also on that Rick Hanger frame machine, all the way from Western Australia. And I like the way these the swingers just don't look half the time. I don't want to see where I'm going.
No, they're probably looking for the next grip that they need to grab hold of. As we see a replay now of Mick Alton coming up the inside of bike number 1, Howard Ford and Lee Menzies on the run down into turn 4, and then the favour being repaid by the reigning Australian Formula 1 champion, but he goes up the inside on the run through MA corner and down in towards turn 6, YMF corner at Siberia.
But unlike Winton, they're actually keeping their fairings in contact.
And they're keeping all their wheels on the track.
Oh, and again, they're up the inside of bike number 15. That is Brown and... what's he name? I'm just thinking of Matty McKinnon owns the motorcycle.
Brown and Sheldrick, isn't it?
Brown and Sheldrick, yep.
And also that's Pat Clancy, I think, on board 26, isn't it?
Yep, and he's going to be the youngest ever Australian champion very, very soon. Great to see that, as I've said, the Clancy family, but it is kept in the family. Husband, Father John, husband John, wife and mum Chrissy. And they brought us up a block of chocolate earlier on, Phil, all done up in the Clancy racing colours, and I went, wow, we need sweetening up, so even the sidecar people are bringing us up some chocolate.
They're trying to put some weight on you, Braxy, so they might be able to use you as a swinger. You'd be useless at the moment. You wouldn't be able to hold that wheel anywhere near the ground.
I don't mind swinging whatsoever. I've done it a couple of times.
You've also been spat out the back. What was the phrase?
Spat out like a watermelon pit.
That's right.
Outside of Pirelli turn many years ago.
So just notification coming through that Phillip Underwood and Stephen Ford on bike number 17 have been given a jump start penalty for not starting in the correct grid position.
That must be hard to achieve. So we're on our 6th lap of 7 laps of this final leg of the Horsell Consulting Australian Sidecar Championship for 2019. And at the moment, it's still looking like the Turner boys, Corey, the elder brother, and Danyan, the younger brother of the two. Danyan is normally the driver of the sidecar, but since Corey Turner hasn't had the solos, he's gone, come on, I'm pulling rank on you. I'm going to have a steer of this one and take over the reins.
I think Danion's the youngest of the three Turner children too, isn't he?
And they've a great tight-knit family, actually, so it's good to see that they've get up there, and I'd really like to see...
and all of them pretty handy on motorcycles too.
I'd like to see Corey back on a solo machine, because remember a couple of years ago at Darwin when he was on that R1, and he ended up, I think, leading the second row of the grid.
And then the next round at Morgan Park, he was on the Desmo Sport Ducati and on the podium in his first ever meeting on the bike.
As we head back on our super screens now and motorsports.tv and also the live stream on asbk.com.au, Graham Evans and his teammate Scott leading the Feel the Merry dance.
That'll be their first win of the weekend too, Braxy.
And I think the first weekend of the year for them, because this is their first appearance in the Horsell Consulting Australian Sidecar Championship.
They'll be pretty keen to come around and get the last lap board and know that there's only 4.45 kilometres of undulating bitumen to go before they take their first win of the weekend. And never know, the way they're riding, Braxy, might not be their last if they come back next year and do the Horsell Consulting Sidecars.
Great to see. And on the way down here, I was noticing there was a few drops of rain starting to be scattered around the circuit. So hopefully that holds off for our final two races. We've got the Oceania Junior Cup proudly supported by the Blue Crew. And we've got just an update. We'll get onto that when the racing comes about the guys that were transported away for some repairs after the, a very dramatic end to the second leg of the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. But look at this, Daniel Turner. I tell you what, they haven't given out any hope of basically pulling these guys in on the last lap. They think, well, they've just got to get it home. Daniel's probably giving him...
They've got a standard engine. They've done a pretty good job to hang on to the back of the Rick Hanger racing machine that currently leads.
How unlucky, or how lucky as well, that the electrode fell off the spark plug and they managed to catch it before it detonated inside the engine and destroyed everything for them.
That'd be a relatively easy fix to get that bike ready to go again. And now you might see Daniel and Shelby on it next year. As they come round through the final corners now, it is Evans and Scott that look on track to take the victory over the Turner brothers. And third place will be Howard Ford and Lee Menzies, all Formula One machines at the front. Then it will be the Formula 2 victory should go to Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy in fifth position on board bike number 54. But coming to the line, it is bike number 20, Graham Evans and Jared Scott that take the win. Checkered flag to those riders across the line, and second place and the 2019 Horsell Sidecar F1 champions Corey and Daniel Turner. Howard Ford and Lee Menzies round out the top three. The 10-second penalty for Phil Underwood on board bike number 17 will put them back into about 6th or 7th position behind Bruce Collins and maybe also Jeff Brown. So Mick Alton, Chrissy Clancy will move up into 5th position. But congratulations to our race winners on bike number 20, Graham Evans and Jared Scott, their first win for the weekend. 3 races for the Horsell Sidecars this weekend, 3 winners. Gerard Joyce and Corey Blackman in race number 2, Corey Turner and Daniel Turner in race number 1, and in race number 3 it was Graham Evans and Jared Scott. 3.468 seconds, the eventual winning margin over Turners and Howard Ford and Lee Menzies, 9.8 seconds behind the race lead. Underwood and Ford in 4th place, Mick Alton, Chrissy Clancy in 5th, Bruce Collins and Patrick DeAngelis in 6th place, Jeff Brown and Darren Sheldrick in 7th, Pat Clancy and Steve Bonney in 8th, John Clancy and Warren Grubb in 9th, and Gerard Joyce and Corey Blackman rounding out the top 10. Highlights now of the final Horsell Sidecars race for the weekend. The Turner brothers got a great jump off the line and led the majority of the early part of the race. In fact, they built up a very handy lead over the rest of the field, but we saw this big spin on the first lap where Gerard Joyce, the winner of race number 2 with Corey Blackman, was lucky to keep that bike rubber side down And their race, unfortunately, finished on the exit of turn 1 on lap 1. Good battle here between Bruce Collins on board bike number 4 and his passenger, Peter DeAngelis. That was the race-winning move from the riders on bike number 20, Graham Evans and Jared Scott, as they took the lead from the Corey Turner and Daniel Turner machine. As we heard in the call, that standard engine just didn't quite have the power of the modified engine that they'd been running for race number 1, where they took a comfortable victory. Good dice there between the reigning Australian Formula 1 champion and Formula 2 champion. But the third and final race for Horsell Sidecars was all about bike number 20, Graham Evans and Jared Scott, as they took the win over the new Australian champions, Corey and Daniel Turner. Formula 2 victory went to Mick Alton and Chrissy Clancy on board bike number 54. Congratulations to Graham Evans and Jared Scott, their first race win of the weekend. And I'm sure they'll be delighted to be talking to Mark Brax very shortly. But yeah, the penalty has been applied now, and Underwood slipped back to 6th position. So Alton and Clancy up into 4th, ahead of Bruce Collins and Chrissy Clancy finishing in 5th. Coming down, only 2 more events to go now. Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup and also the Yamaha R3 Cup to finish out the day's program here at Phillip Island. Spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. And there's the Turners coming back into Park for May, the 2019 Horsell Sidecar Formula 1 champions. The lap record from Steve Abbott and Jamie Biggs set back in 2005. Once again, not coming under any threat. A blistering 138.896. That lap record will stand for a long time. MA calendar events. Let's keep up to date with what's happening for Australian Motocross Championship Round 1, 12th of October, Brisbane Entertainment Centre. The Australian Trials Championships, the 12th to the 13th of October at Mount Joy in Tasmania. And the Australian Supercross Championship Round 2 on the 19th of October at Gilman Speedway in South Australia. For more information, go to ma.org.au. And of course, for all the ASBK information, asbk.com.au as well, to keep up to date with everything between now and the final round of the championship at Sydney Motorsport Park. Not too far away, the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix back here at the iconic Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit from the 25th to the 27th of October. Can't wait for that one. Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship Round 7, as we mentioned, the 1st to the 3rd of November. Not too long to wait for that either at Sydney Motorsport Park. And the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, the 1st to the 3rd of November at Sydney Motorsport Park as well. Final race, or final round for the Blue Crew Junior Cup. Been a sensational debut year for that championship. Congratulations to everyone involved with getting that one up and running. Down to Braxy, who's with our top three, our Formula 1 and Formula 2 winners, and I bet our new Australian Formula 1 champions. Over to you, Braxy.
Well, welcome down to the podium to present the awards for the Horsell Consulting Australian Sidecar Championship, taking out the round win. Graham Evans, well done, and your passengers, you had a hard fought in those Rick Hanger machines. They were something special.
Yeah, they are. I can't thank Rick and Rachel enough. They do so much for the sport, so much back in WA, and yeah, they turn out a great machine. Yeah.
So talk us through your weekend. How was it?
Well, we sort of. Pretty casual, actually, to start with. We weren't doing much better than what we expected anyway. We put a bit more prep in than usual. I wouldn't say we're the most professional outfit, but yeah, Jared does a lot.
Did he make you work for it?
Oh yeah, we always work for it. You know, he's a talented boy, but he throws it around, kind of thing. Like I say, he only does as good as a hanger machines can handle, kind of thing. But yeah, plenty of slides and skids through turn 1, kind of thing. But like I say, we thought we'd come along, we'd have just a bit of a family weekend, family travel from all over, and we've just enjoyed it. We've slowly built up and got better, and just we thought if we came first, we came last, doesn't matter. We just had to have fun, make the numbers, and kick the doors down, you know, and show what WA can do.
Congratulations, guys, on the race win. Well done, and hopefully see you back here next year as we move on to our Formula 2 winners for the race. And You come up to give me some chocolate to sweeten me up, though, Chrissy, early on, but well done again on another race win for both of you.
Yeah, that one, the wind was really playing havoc with us.
Mate, you guys, I love the way the corner speed, and you were having to go with, Ford and Menzies and shoving it up the inside, and he's having a bit of a crack back at you.
Yeah, it was good fun. That's the idea.
Yeah. Kept us honest.
Kept them honest. Yeah.
And a pretty good way to finish your immediate career in sidecar racing in Australia.
Yeah, I was going to continue on for a long time to come. Yeah, I'm still only young, so, to keep it at it. But it's good to see the young guys coming through.
Yeah, well, we'll get onto that very shortly to do the round winners and the championship winners, because I think it's pretty special to you, isn't it, Chrissy?
Yeah, it is. My son got first, my husband got second, and I get third. So
What bench racing's going to happen on the way back home tonight?
no, nothing.
Well done, guys. Congratulations for taking out the Formula 2 as we get ready for our round winners. As I look forward to Sam with our round winners for... Are we going to introduce the round winners for 2019 here at Phillip Island? As they're just getting the numbers down, they're adding up the points here. There's a bit of a drama at the moment as they try and get everything together. And I know the Turner boys over there are the Aussie champions. All right, and we get our round winners for the weekend in the Formula 2s. Here we go. They're all lining up ready, 1, 2 and 3. John Clancy and Warren Grubb, well done. Another good ride for you guys.
Yes, was a good ride down here. Very big improvements for me, and this is my last ride in F2s for the full-time. Paddy's going to take over the bike after this.
So you're moving up to Formula 1?
No, I'm going back to P4.
All right, mate, all the best. And Warren, a bit of a sad moment for you both, splitting ways with the boss?
Yeah, well, new beginnings next year. We'll see what happens.
All right, I'm sure you're full of surprises, Warren, anyway. And well done, past you guys. But we'll go to some of the older stages of racing here in Australia, sidecar racing. Peter DeAngelis and Brucey Collins, well done again for your efforts over the weekend. What do you got to say, Bruce?
I'm Peter, but that's okay.
Peter, Bruce, I've got too many names.
It's been a few years, mate. It was great. We had a great weekend. Congratulations to the place getters in the championship, and congratulations to my passenger who always hangs on and pretty hard.
And you've always got the best looking outfit out too. I love looking at your outfit.
It's a bit battered at the moment, but yeah, we do our best.
All right, mate, all the best, and hopefully see you back here for many more years to come.
Thanks, Braxy.
No worries, guys. That's our round winners for the Formula 2s as we get ready for our Formula 1 round winners and to crown our new Australian champions here in as we wait for our guys to come through, Jero Joyce and Corey Blackman. And as our guys come over, here we go. There's that many people here at the moment. Well, we'll start with you guys from another Western Australians. Jero, you had a bit of an exciting time, didn't you?
Yeah, 360s in the grass. That's pretty exciting. And my boy, he hung on. What a legend he is.
So what actually happened going there? You gave a bit of a tag?
No. There was a gap on the outside, and I was going to head for the gap, and one of our fellow competitors decided he was going to go around the outside, and he was in front of us. So when I saw that, I had to jump on the brakes, and we just went onto the grass and spun out. Avoiding action, mate, and that's racing.
And kept your heart ticking going as well.
Yeah, all I did was try to keep it flat and on 3 wheels. It gets a bit violent if it gets up onto 2 or on its head.
Or 0.
Yeah. So, exciting. But kept it stable.
Congratulations, guys. Hope you come back and have another crack at taking the championship.
Yeah, mate, we'll see how we go. Enjoy this track immensely. It's brilliant.
No worries. Everybody does enjoy this championship as we move on to our champions for 2019. The youngest combination ever to win an Australian sidecar championship, and I must say probably the slimmest as well. Well done, Corey Turner in the steering, and younger brother Daniel swinging off. It's been a pretty challenging weekend too for you after what happened after that first race.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't even know about it. We come back into the park permit yesterday and it sounded fine, and we took it back to pits and started up, and there was just a weird noise in the engine. So with an hour and a half to go before race 2, we decided to swap the engines out just to be safe, and we got out there just as they were taking off. So we were a little bit behind, but we're just out there for points, and to bring it home today, it's just amazing.
Congratulations. And Daniel, what would you like to say with your swinging with your brother?
Yeah, very proud of him. He's brought home the championship, so it's such a good weekend to come here and take the championship. Very proud of everyone. Big shout out to everyone at home watching. Big thanks to Dad, Di, and Brian and Sharon for pit crew and all weekend. Massive shout out to them and all our fan supporters. Thanks heaps.
Well, I must be pretty proud for you both, because you have continued to find family tradition in Australian sidecar racing.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the question?
I must be pretty proud for you because you're continuing to find family tradition.
Yeah, I'm lost for words. We were both thrown into it, especially with our dad being an awesome sidecar racer back in his day. So, yeah, just very proud of everyone and all the team's involvement.
Okay, then we'll close it up, but congratulations to all our winners and place getters in the Australian sidecars. We'll have a break here on absbk.com.au.
Don't miss a second of the action. Every corner, every shift, every heartbreak. See your motorsport as it should be, live and free. Download your Motorsport TV experience now.
Our business is making dreams come true. Since 2002, we've realised over 130,000 Yamaha dreams and financed more than 200,000 motorcycle and boating passions. We've helped turn the smallest dreams and the largest dreams into reality. Are you ready to make your dream a reality?
We are the innovators, the specialists, the ones who power the wheels of progress. Extraordinary innovation for on-road and off-road terrain. Esticore technology for improved engine protection and performance. We are going a step beyond to a new generation of motor oils. This is the vision of innovation. The new 300V squared.
Welcome to the track. Welcome to the proving grounds. Welcome to the streets. Welcome to the concrete battleground. To run the streets, it takes swagger and an unapologetic attitude. To rule the track, it takes precision and lightning-fast reflexes. To rule the track and run the streets, it takes fearless instincts.
And welcome back to Phillip Island. Spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. We are getting ready for the last race for the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. 2 races so far this weekend, 2 different winners and plenty of racing action, Mark Brax. But we did see a red flag stoppage cause an early end to race number 2. A couple of riders went down. You can update us on the injuries.
Yeah, Jamie Port, him and Glenn Nelson were the 2 that came together, and there was another couple that went down. But unfortunately, Jamie knocked his head around a bit, and also his hip, got a sore leg, and they're both being transported to hospital, but Glenn Nelson with a broken leg as well, but both A-OK, ready to fight another day. I know in motorcycle racing you say A-OK, but they're fit and well and ready to come back again, and I'm sure they'll be back on track when we reconvene for the final round of this magnificent series, the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup at Eastern Creek in a few weeks' time, as we look at the front row of the grid with Tom Drain from Reach Orchard and Jacob Hatch.
Row 2 won't have Jamie Port on board bike number 24, but it should have Archie McDonald and Marianis Nicholas on board bike number 46.
And then Carter Thompson, Maxie Gibbons, who's won a race this weekend, and Zach Pettendy.
I think Carter Thompson was one of those riders that went down. Hopefully he'll be back out there on the grid. Row 4, Link Knight, Lucas Quinn and Glenn Nelson,
who won't be taking part in the race. With row 5, Patrick Bogner, Vardis Fleming and Agnes Grenfell.
Row 6 will be Cormac Buchanan, Dominic Fletcher and Jai Russo.
Row 7 is Hunter Diplock, Jaden Martin, Tom Connors. And rounding out the field on row number 8 on bike number 27, Toby James, pardon me, as they come back into the starters' hands. And boys are grabbing a bit of front brake to warm them up. Not that they really have to warm them up a bit, because they don't really use them that much.
No, I don't even think they use them in turn 4. They just use the gears to slow them down, stick a leg out to slow down. There's Marianis Nicholas on board bike number 46. Can't believe he's a big Valentino Rossi fan, and he hasn't got a Valentino Rossi AGV helmet on there, Braxy.
Might be there waiting for another day to grow into. But we get ready for our race start of 6 laps for the final leg of the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup.
Well, red flag is about to leave the front of the grid. Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup is go, as we see a good start there from Tom Drain from pole position, and he blasts his way down towards turn 1. Look at the riders now all start to use the slipstream. They're only 20 metres past the start-finish line, and they're using the slipstream to try and out-drag each other down the hill and into turn 1 for the first time. Look like Reece Orchard got a cracking start on board bike number 12. He could very well be in second place as they make their way through turn 1 for the first time.
He's the quiet achiever, isn't he, Reece Orchard? Another one of these guys that's just making the increments as our leaders go. Look, 4 wide going through the Suzuki Southern Loop, but it's Tom Drain, the AMA Dirt Track champion and current just recently winning. Oh, who we got going off? Is that Nicholas? It is Nicholas going off there into the dirt.
Lucky he didn't have the Valentino Rossi helmet on, Braxy, because he would have got it all roughed up by the gravel. Oh, a bit of contact there between Jacob Hatch and Reece Orchard. Two of the riders that we mentioned coming from racing families. As Hatch has a big look down the inside. I think he moves up into third place there.
Are we going to have a 23-bike freight train for the final instalment of this Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup?
Well, why not? We've had it plenty of times this year. Why not make it again? As Max Gibbons on board bike number 31. How's the style?
Yeah, they've got a great lot of style, and I'll tell you what, I've got to take my hat off to MA, Damien Cudlin, who's the rider coach, and everybody else concerned in this, from Trevor Manley, who prepares the bikes with his merry band of volunteers that help out to transport these bikes around. For $7,700 it was this year. It'll probably be a similar price next year. That's your bike supplied for the year. Your leathers, your boots, your gloves, thanks to AGV, Racondi Leathers, everybody else that's been involved in this. It's been a marvellous concept and an extension of what the junior racing has been like for a few years.
And I can't wait to see the graduates from this year's academy move forward into Supersport 300, Asia Talent Cup, Red Bull Rookies Cup next year, and a whole new group of riders come in to take up those positions that have been vacated. Once again, the class is oversubscribed for 2020.
Yeah, well, we'll again see these guys march up the ranks, and we've seen kids this weekend on triple duty, not just double duty in different classes, but this class, the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup and the Yamaha Motor Insurance and Supersport 300s.
So it is, well, it was Gibbons on 31 that led onto the start-finish straight. He's now been relegated to second. Probably make that third, maybe even make that fourth now as they come down into turn one. I think you'll find it is Jacob Hatch that was taking up the lead, but Gibbons has gone back to fourth place and back up into the lead in 3 slipstream manoeuvres on 1 straight.
I love the certainty of this class, Phil.
Yeah, we will change leaders every corner.
Which is the uncertainty of who's going to lead. Oh, there was that bike number 12. That was Reece Orchard having a double bite of the cherry going into Suzuki Southern Loop there as they come out onto Kawasaki back straight and head down to turn number 4 on their second lap of this 6-lap journey.
He certainly takes after his dad. He's not going to wait for a second invitation.
No, not at all. Not at all. And he's got a good learner in his father, Dino. The proprietor of Dino Works, and a pretty handy punter himself and an ex-mechanic for the Honda racing team. Oh, they did actually hit the brakes there because you saw the front ends just diving in momentarily before they got off and got back on the gas again.
I'm not sure if Patrick Bognar on 37 actually used the brakes or he just ran into the rider in front, and that was what he used to slow him down.
Well, this could be his best result of the year, actually, but Patrick Bognar, if he can stay in third position. And this is the good thing about this class. We all have all these little blips on the radar. It's not one person or 2 persons or 3 kids that are constantly at the front. It's any one of 12 of them.
Let's just look at... I can't pick up who the rider was. I think it might have been Archie McDonald on board bike number 69. He just come charging up the hill, went past about 3 or 4 people on the way around the outside into the hay shed, and he's now moved up. But he is in position that he could move up into the top 4 or 5. He was well out of the top 10 only a couple of corners ago. Just goes to show you how unpredictable this class is, as you said, Braxy, but also, too, that the riders are able to slipstream virtually the whole track, not just on the straights.
No, anywhere there where there's a bit of bitumen, you can slipstream these guys. Is out front at the moment, Angus Grenfell. Is he going to take another win in this series this year? It's, well, look 4 wide again as they go through Yamaha Revs Your Heart turn. The Maxi Gibbons around the outside, is it? As he tries to get himself under the fairing. And go down, and Jake Hatch and Reece Orchard in there as well. Archie McDonald, as I gave a bit of a rap to Tommy Drain. Archie McDonald won 2 junior dirt track championships last week up in Somersby in New South Wales as well. So there's plenty of talent on display here. So we're looking at rider number 18, Tom Connors, as he had a bit of a jump start penalty, has he, way back down there in 17th position.
Well, he hasn't been able to make it work for him because he's still in 17th position. What was Ken Wotton's old philosophy? If you're going to jump the start, make sure it's worthwhile the penalty.
Oh, Archie McDonald takes the lead again. As Phil said before, he was back in 8th position a moment ago, and he'll probably be back in 8th position in a couple of moments' time as well.
And our pulse sitter, Tom Drain, is still in the mix as well on board bike number 59. rider, as you mentioned, Braxy, with, I think, AMA Dirt Track Championships to his name as well.
Yeah, great family, great young kid too, actually. And he was another one that won the a couple of Australian Dirt Track Championships last weekend as bike number 36, Angus Grenfell, who is actually going for the Red Bull Rookies tryout soon. And we must say a number of these kids are actually heading off after the Grand Prix to head to the Asia Talent Cup tryouts in Sepang.
I couldn't believe how many of them were actually in that final group of people that have been passed for the tryouts. There's a lot of people going for the tryouts, obviously, but so many of them are from the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. And just going to show you how competitive this class is, the rider on board bike number 28, Cormac Buchanan, I think that's our Kiwi participant, is actually the fastest man on track on the last lap. He's sitting back in 7th position with a 2:16.311 on the first flying lap.
And when you say that 2:16, you can see how much the wind has affected these youngsters on these little lightweight machines. When you look at the fastest time, was a 2 minutes 12 set yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, so 4 seconds is the hampering factor that the wind is playing on these guys this weekend, because the tailwind's probably not going to help them all that much because they're already bouncing off the rev limiter in top gear, but the headwind is really going to penalise them, and the run up the hill at the same time where the headwind would be hitting them, as Jacob Hatch on board bike number 14.
Well, he was leading, but Carter Thompson just Carter Thompson just went round the outside on bike number 21.
Well, Jacob Hatch is not the biggest bloke you've ever seen, but he probably weighs twice as much as Carter Thompson.
The one I feel for is Dominic Fletcher, the 26-year on bike number 26. He's 16 years old, and I'm 5'10", and I look up to him to talk to him. He's about 6'2".
I thought you were envious of his hair. He's got a fair amount of hair too, hasn't he?
And a good supercross rider and a supermoto rider as well.
Well, obviously, he would be one that would be looking to make the step next year into Supersport 300 or Yamaha R3 Cup, or why not both?
I'd say why not both. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing a bit of practice on a Supersport 600, because that's more what his body stature is suited to.
So as they come out of the Kawasaki corner, it is Tom Drain on board bike number 59 that's back into the lead momentarily.
4 of them, and it's just grown to 6 wide across the track before they decide, we better funnel ourselves in and try and make some room for everybody.
Yeah, better slipstream when it's 6 people wide.
Changing down through the gears, you can see the blipping of the throttle.
Angus Grenfell doing a good job there, also on board bike number 36. As we go out through MA corner now to Siberia. And Jacob Hatch would be one of the bigger and heavier riders in this field. He has been on the pace all weekend here at Phillip Island. And I think at Winton in race number 3, he set a new lap record towards the end of the race and finished in 10th place.
Well, it just shows you that the competition and how good it is. Not only the competition, but how even these machines are. That there's no one. They're all prepared by Trevor Manley and his band of merry helpers out there in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. So they're all as even as humanly possible. And it's only I suppose, as you've said, Phil, the difference in height and weight that makes the difference to these kids.
Well, in the last round we saw that slight handicapping system to help the heavier riders come in, where the lighter riders have got to run full tanks of petrol, and the heavier riders can run just enough fuel to get them through the race. I think it's got to make that much difference in the end, because we saw the same riders battling at the front. But the whole thing is, Braxy, this track, completely different equation to Morgan Park and Winton, where we've seen the last couple of rounds. This track, there would be, as you said, minimal use of brakes, more use of slipstream, probably a little bit more racecraft, and also the fact that you've got to be tipping into those corners so on the limit and so very fast. It's the riders that have probably got a little bit more experience. Hey, in the junior ranks, we've got someone coming together there. That was bike number 36. That was Angus Grenfell. He was lucky to stay on board the machine.
Both legs off the pegs then. There was a bit of a tag.
It was the Johan Zarco. But he stayed upright.
I'm sure we'll get a replay of that one. Wow, that would have been a heart-stopping moment. I'll have to remember that if he gets onto the podium at the end of this race. Have a bit of a chat with him if he's got his breath back.
Was it Archie McDonald that it happened to? Well, he's back in the lead.
Well, that's probably a bit of his racing ploy. Might give him a bit of a tag to get by. As they're on their 5th lap, so they'll get the last lap board at the completion of this circuit of this 4.45 kilometre magnificent Phillip Island layout. And I love the body language of these kids as they get off the bike and use their body to steer the machine into the corners. At the moment on bike number 31, we've got Maxie Gibbons leading the way. 37, is it? 31, no, pardon me. Maxie Gibbons is still there. And Archie McDonald was leading, but he's been pushed back. And is it Bognar as well? Patrick Bognar having a bit of a dip as well on bike number 37.
As they make their way up through KTM corner, it's Jacob Hatch now that comes to the fore. Trying to come around the outside of Archie McDonald on board bike number 69, but McDonald's got the better line as they come up through the top of Lukey Heights, YMI corner, and down into Pirelli corner, turn 10. Jacob Hatch tries another look up the inside, but McDonald, how much confidence did he have just to run the front tyre in there so hard, carry so much corner speed? Well, and Jacob Hatch is not even on the exit of turn 11. He's already got his backside up onto the ducktail, trying to get maximum aerodynamic efficiencies, Braxy. As we come round now, this will be to get the last lap board, and only 4.45 kilometres to go. I just don't want this to ever end. It's so exciting.
I love it. I reckon it doesn't matter on the speed of these machines, just the intensity of the battles that these guys or the young kids have done. So we've got, what do we got there? We've got 4, 7, 9 bikes in this leading freight train at the moment as they cross the start-finish line to start their final lap.
Yeah, and when they come across the start-finish line, there was half a second covered them.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest gap we've seen all weekend, isn't it?
And the fastest man on track on that last lap, Jacob Hatch, with a 2:15.903, sorry. So looking like he's well and truly in the battle, but he's just gone from wherever he was back to 6th or 7th position. We make our way out of Kawasaki corner, and for the final time.
You take the high side, I'll take the low side, and they're following each other. Oh, bike number 36, who was that? Angus Grenfell almost out onto the ripple strip as they head down to turn 4, YMI corner for the final time of this weekend.
Well, it's Angus Grenfell. It's got the Jack Miller helmet on, isn't it? So he's channeling the Australian GP legend that's going into battle this afternoon in Thailand.
There was a bit of veering, clashing then between, I think that was McDonald and Grenfell, and Drain having a bit of a set to as well.
Lucky these don't have wings like Jack Miller's bike, otherwise there could be all sorts of trouble as we come round now through Siberia and take the long run up the hill through YMF corner for the final time. I think we need to probably interview the top 9 in this field, not just the top 3 as they make their way up through KTM corner now. I think it was still Angus Grenfell on 36 that does hold the lead momentarily. Slipstreaming aplenty as we make our way through KTM corner. Archie McDonald in there on board bike number 69. Tries to go up the inside as well. Round the outside is bike number 37, Patrick Bognar. I think he might have even taken the lead, Patrick Bognar, as he comes around high and wide and then has a look where his competitors are as they come down into turn 10. He goes back to second place, as I think you'll find it is Carter Thompson on board bike number 21, the championship leader coming into this round that has taken up the running at the front. It's probably one of the lighter riders. He may have a slight weight advantage as they come round through the final corner now, but Bognar comes back round the outside. He's trying to go right around the outside, Patrick Bognar, but then up the inside is bike number 36, Angus Grenfell, that slips through Carter Thompson and takes the lead as they come out onto the straight for the final time on the run to the flag. It is currently 36, Angus Grenfell, that leads. Pulling out the slipstream is Carter Thompson. Carter Thompson looks like he's going to try and take the win. He does. He takes the win as they come across the line. Carter Thompson on board bike number 21. Well, it's so close between second and third. I don't even know who's actually finished in those positions. We'll wait for the timing monitor to do update. I think you'll find Tom Drain may have got 4th position. Angus Grenfell looks like he may have got 2nd position only just. There is literally thousandths of a second between Angus Grenfell and Max Gibbons as they came across the line. I don't think the riders actually even know what positions they are. Incident under investigation at turn 1, bike number 36 and 31. So that's Angus Grenfell and Max Gibbons that finished in 2nd and 3rd position. As Cormac Buchanan on bike number 28 gives the riders a big thumbs up as he comes past. In the end, there was 0.3 of a second covered the top 8 in the field as they came across the line. 0.3 of a second between 8 riders as they came across the line. Fastest rider in the race was Jacob Hatch with his lap on lap 5 of the 6-lap journey at 2:15.903. And I think you'll find that Carter Thompson will maintain his points lead over Angus Grenfell and Tom Drain taking that win 0.015 of a second over Angus Grenfell and Max Gibbons. In third place, Tom Drain in fourth, Archie McDonald in fifth, Cormac Buchanan in sixth, Jacob Hatch in seventh, Bognar in eighth, Reece Orchard in ninth, and Lucas Quinn rounding out the top 10, with Varis Fleming in 11th, Zach Pettendy in 12th, Lincoln Knight in 13th, Jaden Martin and Jai Russo rounding out the top 15, with Tom Connors, Dom Fletcher, Toby James, Hunter Diplock and Marianus Nicholas unfortunately not finishing the race. Marianus, of course, going off there at turn 1 on lap 1. Track temperature now up to 29.6 degrees, despite the blustery wind here at Phillip Island this afternoon. The lap record set yesterday afternoon by Glenn Nelson, a 2:12.508, certainly didn't come under any threat with those blustery conditions. But thankfully, no rain here at Phillip Island that's affected any of the racing today. We've seen classic racing here at the spiritual home of Australian motorcycling, the magnificent Phillip Island circuit. And of course, plenty more action to come for the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship at the final round in just 1 month's time at Sydney Motorsport Park, where all of the championships will be decided, apart from the Motorsports TV Supersport Championship that was decided today in race 1, where Tom Taparis was the first Australian champion crowned for 2019. So riders making their way into Park for May. Hopefully it won't be too long until we can hear from our top 3, Carter Thompson, Angus Grenfell and Max Gibbons. Poor old Tom Drain finishes 0.1 of a second off the race win and can't even get a Guernsey on the podium. Race time for Carter Thompson was 13 minutes and 49 seconds. 13 minutes and 49 seconds of slipstreaming over the 6-lap journey. Moved forward 6 positions from his qualifying position. Angus Grenfell moved forward 13 positions from his qualifying position in that race. And Max Gibbons moved forward 5. So qualifying doesn't really count for much in this class with the amount of slipstreaming that goes on. Just looking down there into Park. Well, it looks like most of the riders are ready, and they're with Mark Brax.
Third in the race and third overall for the round. You must be pretty happy.
Yeah, it was a tough race. It's hard to it's hard to position yourself in the race because it's such a long slipstream down the straight. But yeah, I'm happy. Got on the podium again. Yeah.
Well, you're slipstreaming all around the place. It's not only the straight, isn't it?
Yeah, basically like everywhere except for turn 4 and turn 10. But yeah, it's so much fun.
Mate, have a good one. Hopefully we'll see you at Eastern Creek in a couple of weeks' time to try and take another win as well like you did yesterday. Well done.
Thank you.
No worries. Max Gibbons in second, in third, in second on the day, second on the race as well. Angus Grenfell, mate, all the smiles on your kids' faces is awesome. You're having that much fun out there.
Yeah, it was a great race. Nearly fell off on the straight.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you about that. What happened?
People were swerving and stuff and trying to get out of the slipstream, but it was unlucky that someone hit my front wheel and nearly fell off the bike, yeah.
Did you worry about that or just keep it pinned?
Oh, I kept it pinned, but I was a bit worried, yeah.
Well done, mate. And how much fun are you having has it been at Phillip Island?
Oh, it's great. It's just an unbelievable experience riding here with 26 riders or 14 riders in a pack, all going for the win. It's fun.
Mate, we'll see you at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, see ya.
Thanks, Angus Grenfell. Second in the race and second overall for the weekend. And our winner, put your hands together, first in the final race and taking out the round win, Carter Thompson. Well done, mate. And you've had a great race as well and you played it to perfection.
Yeah, it was a great race. Well, everyone did great. It was tough conditions.
So how do you play it out? What was in your mind to think, how can I get there to the line first?
Make sure I wasn't in front coming onto the straight.
And how did you do that? Did you actually back it off going into the hairpin?
I backed it off a little bit coming out of MG, try and help me get a run onto the straight.
You're a lot smarter than your age, mate. Well done and congratulations on the win. Put your hands together for Carter Thompson, winning the race and winning the round. Well done, matey. Congratulations. All the best.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. It's great to see these guys in the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. So many battling to each other. Give us a thumbs up and a big smile. Well done, and back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Braxy. Coming through from race direction, there will be no further investigation into that incident that we saw at turn 1, which involved our second and third place getters in that race. And a few of them are actually straight back out into the final Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup race for the weekend. Riders are now coming round to take up their positions on the grid. Maxi Stouffer will start from pole position with Hunter Ford and John Littris on the front row of the grid. Championship has closed up in the R3 Cup race as well this weekend, which will ensure that we go to the final round to decide who will be the Yamaha R3 Cup champion for 2019. One final 4.45 kilometre sighting and warm-up lap to be completed before we get underway. Like Laura Brown having a good practice start there on board bike number 355. She's had a whale of a weekend. She's already taken out the AGV award for the fastest female this weekend and has been battling in the race lead group all weekend and led the second race earlier on today several times before finally having to settle for a position not on the podium. We look to the results of race number 2. Hunter Ford took the victory from Max Stouffer and Johnny Littris, the top 3 in the championship, the top 3 in the race. And Laura Brown just off the podium, 0.05 of a second off a podium position, finishing in 4th place, ahead of Brandon Demery in 5th, Lockie Taylor in 6th place. And the top 7 in the race covered by 0.5 of a second. Thought the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup was close. This racing is just as close, but with bikes that are more than twice the cubic capacity in the engine department. Championship has closed up for these riders as well. The current state of the championship is that Hunter Ford leads on 206 points from John Littris on 200 and Max Stouffer on 193. Max Stouffer will start from pole position from Hunter Ford and John Littris on the front row of the grid. Could not get any more exciting. Lockie Taylor, Luke Johnson and Laura Brown. Keep an eye on those 3 starting out of row 2. And on the third row of the grid will be Brandon Demery, Benny Baker and Matty Rindell. Row 4 will be Reece Orchard, Archie McDonald and Harry Parker, with row 5, Jacob Hatch, Ryan Smith and Zach Pettendy. Row 6, Patrick Bogner, Stephanie James and Hunter Diplock. So many riders have just had to go in and swap bikes from the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. Jamie Port won't be out there. Unfortunately, he had that injury in the race earlier on. Patrick Lee, great to see Patrick back on board a motorcycle after some big injuries sustained in the Asian Road Racing Championship earlier on this year.
I don't think he'll be taking part in it after that dramatic end of that rain. He got dragged along pit straight.
Oh, that was Patrick, was it?
Yeah, Patrick with in the back of Craig White's machine, the boss of White Racing Products.
Patrick was just looking to see what tyres Craig was running, thought he might have been able to get an advantage.
It was horrific to watch from up where we were, where he was from all the way along pit straight. But anyway, we're back here for the final leg, as Phil said, the YMF R3 Cup, and it could be anybody's.
Final race of the day, red flag leaves the front of the grid. R3 Cup is go as they make their way off the line. Great start from Johnny Littris on board the 308 machine. He's pulled into Max Stouffer's slipstream as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. Looked like Laura Brown got a cracking start as well and is well and truly in the mix, along with her teammate Benny Baker on board bike number 72. And Lockie Taylor also well positioned on the 151 machine as they make their way through YMF corner for the first time and round into Suzuki. It's Hunter Ford, Braxy, that takes the lead.
Well, Hunter Ford leading the championship from man in second position on track, is actually second in the championship as well, Johnny Littris. So he was leading coming into this morning's events by 1 solitary point. Hunter Ford is showing a bit of consistency as well. Oh, I tell you what, there was a big bobble and a bub there from Johnny Littress and Max Stouffer as they went through, and Johnny Littress takes the lead, and Max Stouffer moving up the inside uses a bit of the ripple strip as well, just for good measure.
Well, and Max Stouffer's now pulled it back to, he's only 13 points behind the championship lead coming into this round. He may have lost some points in his Supersport 300 championship lead, but he's pulled it back in the R3 Cup as well, and I know how desperate the riders are to try and win both those championships, because as I've heard from a few of them have mentioned it, the bonus is much bigger.
And Hunter Ford would probably be pretty keen to retain his cup that he won last year, as he's in third position as they head over the hill for the first time of this 7-lap journey down into Pirelli hairpin. So it's John Littress, the little kid from Caboolture up there on the Sunshine Coast, Maxi Stouffer in second from the Hunter Valley, and Hunter Ford from Nelson Bay out there in near Newcastle in third position. Then we've got Laura Brown, great position for her. What can she do? Cards can she deal out in this final leg with Lockie Taylor, Benny Baker, Reese Orchard, Matty Rindell, Brandon Demery and Jake Hatch in 10th position.
Did you see Max Stouffer then? Just sat up because he didn't want to go past Littress in between turn 11 and turn 12. But I'll just sit behind him, use the slipstream, and then get slipstreamed by Hunter Ford, probably the tallest rider in the field out there. Hunter Ford, who sweeps around the outside. Well, you say they don't use brakes in Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. I don't think Hunter Ford uses the brakes in Supersport 300 or R3 Cup either.
No, not one around here, that's for sure. He's using his weight. He's a big boy, actually. He's to muscle a bike around.
And concentrating on developing the brand new 2019 R3 as well now.
It's funny how they've been pretty reticent this year about jumping on that 2019 machine. It's got the upside down forks. It's got a few other advantage or modifications on it compared to the bouncing front end of Maxi Stouffer's 300 as he went down into turn number 4. But just you'd think they would have been all on it, but like we said, it's like your favourite pair of jeans when you buy a new set.
Well, I think the other bikes were so well developed as well, and there's been a couple of issues with trying to get the same amount of power out of the new one as what they have with the old one, because the amount of aftermarket hardware is just not there like it was for the previous model. And I know that's what a lot of the teams have been working on, but they said might be a couple of horsepower down on the old model, but it's so much better aerodynamically that it is actually a faster motorcycle. And Max Stouffer, Hunter Ford proving that now as they're on board the brand new machines as they come across the top of the hill. You can see the difference with Johnny Littress's bike, which is the older shape machine with the, apparently less aerodynamic fairing.
Yeah, but he makes up for it by being
that's why I said apparently.
Knee high to the foot peg as the young diminutive 14-year-old is Johnny Littress now, or he might have graduated to be a 15-year-old.
Yeah, 15 with how many Australian dirt track championships?
Multitude of them.
Nearly as many as your age, Braxton.
I don't think anyone could get that many.
Well,
as we start,
go.
laps up that sleeve, we've got our breath back after that with a little dig under the ribs for me from next door. Thanks, Phil.
That's all right, no problem at all. As the scary thing is, I'm not that far behind. Yeah. As we make our way through Yamaha Motor Finance corner, it is Maxi Stouffer on 27 that leads from Hunter Ford on 20. Then it's Littress on 308 in second position. Laura Brown, once again, putting in a ride. Probably the biggest star of the weekend for me has been Laura Brown, Braxy, coming back from injury, first race meeting for so long, to be up there in that lead group all weekend, really putting it to the championship front runners that have been doing this all year. And also a big shout out to her teammate as well, Benny Baker.
Sorry to interrupt, but Littress has gone from third to first in that bouncing out of control. Well, not out of control, but he grabbed a big handful of brake to pull it up because he went in very, very deep before he did decide to use his front brake lever.
Well, and also Jacob Hatch in that group as well on board bike number 99 has been getting so much faster this year. This is his first year of road racing after entering the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, thinking, I'll do the R3 Cup as well. As Hunter Ford goes up the inside of Littress as they come through the hay shed, and Maxi Stouffer, who looks more and more like his 4-time Australian champion father every time he gets on a motorbike, has now slipped his way up into second position on board bike number 27.
And Brandon Demery starting to look a bit dangerous there as Lockie Taylor and Demery relegate Laura Brown back a couple of positions. She's now back in 7th position after being up in 4th half a lap ago. And it's just it's a reflection of every production-based class that we've seen this weekend. Look at Mac, he sits up. He was doing that in the race this morning as well.
He's a cunning little fox, isn't he?
Well, mate, look at who's his mentor?
The wily old fox.
And Lockie Taylor pulls out of the slipstream to move into second position. He's gone, Max, if you're not going to have a dip, I'm certainly going to. The young Queenslander bike number 151 takes the lead. He wants to take another win like he did yesterday afternoon. Is he going to hang on? But Hunter Ford will come sweeping around the front of him. And how dare you, says Hunter.
I love how Hunter Ford just manages to have a look over the shoulder, casually see what's going on, all the while being on full lean or full acceleration on board the R3 as they run out, very wide. The whole lot of them, Braxy, right out to the ripple strips on the exit of Suzuki Corner Turn 2 as they come down the Kawasaki Hill, off Kawasaki Hill and into Turn 3, Stoner Corner. And it is now who's going to be the latest on the brakes as they come down the inside. It's Brandon Demery. He takes the lead on board bike number 11. He's come from 5th position.
Or 6th, or 7th. He just dive-bombed him out of the way. So he hasn't had the same weekend as he had in Winton, but he's always been just there, hasn't he? And I think that's another. Well, he's a bigger lad than a few of them there, and plus that last lap slipstreaming duel that starts from about now. Another rider that was struggling to get the power out of the newer machine, so he's stuck with the old Yamaha R3. He's just been relegated 4 positions now as we make our way up towards the top of the hill by Hunter Ford, Maxi Stouffer and Lockie Taylor. As they recycle positions, it's always one that comes to the front again. It's bike number 20. But the other thing is, though, too, we know the young kids are concerned about the environment. They're into recycling. So may as well do it every corner. Now, it's been a great weekend here at the spokes.com.au supported event of the Australian Superbike Championship, and just the racing going through. And Maxie sits it up again. Yeah, he wasn't quite as sitting up as that one. I think he knows that Lockie Taylor's right behind him as they come down to complete 4 laps now of the 7-lap journey. So we're over halfway. Final race on today's program at the spokes.com.au presents round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. The YMF R3 Cup delivering once again, Braxy. This racing all weekend has been so sensational. I know there was a lot of people that didn't really want to watch Supersport 300 or R3 Cup. They only came to watch Superbikes. Well, they're all learning now, and everyone is saying how good is this racing. The smaller categories are really delivering this weekend. Oh, well, when everybody's on equal machine or semi-equal machinery, you can't help but have it close racing as Demery goes round the outside of Stouffer as they head through the Kawasaki dip down into turn number 4. And it's going to... Maxi Stouffer's got the front end bouncing again. He's a speedway rider. He's a dirt rider as well. He doesn't care if the front end's moving about. And how good is it to see Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch, 2 riders that have just got off their R15s in the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, now in this lead group in the battle for R3 Cup honours. Yeah, and Matty Rindell as well. He was in there as well. Archie McDonald in 11th position. Patrick Bognar in 13th position. He nearly won the... Patrick Bognar, that was his best race in Blue Crew so far. I've never seen him up the front that far in any of the races that we've seen in 2019. And as you mentioned, once again, the one consistent in this race, Hunter Ford, leads once again. Yep. For how long, though? Now we're going to see a bit of racecraft come into it. We're going to have 2 laps to go at the end of this lap. You see Maxi Stouffer even did the old foot-out action then. Just trying to throw the others off. They're going, he really means business now. It's getting serious. Now, what's the body language on Max? Yeah, he sits it up again. Sits and then gets back down under the bubble again. But the man for me at the moment is Lockie Taylor there. He's sitting in a pretty handy position, and even Johnny Littress. But look at Laura Brown up the inside of this entire bunch. The old lap record holder in the Supersport 300 class is now coming to the fore, the end of the race. Well, the veterinarian from Sydney, I think, maybe about to doctor them up. Has he taken the lead? Gone into the lead? No, actually, I think she just got swamped by Littress on by 308 that seemed to get a good run. But then, all of a sudden, Brendan Demery has just brained them all, and he's going into the lead coming through Suzuki Corner. As they come down now, the charge with the 1.5 laps to go. Lockie Taylor is, like I said, he's in a pretty handy. He's been sitting in there at 3rd and 4th. He dive bombs him going into turn number 1, but that's about it. And Laura Brown, you can just see it there in that bunch. Now she's dropped back to about 7th position, has she? So it's about 1 second, covers the top 9 as they went through intermediate number 1. So that's pretty spread out by this class. It's Hunter Ford leads once again as they make their way up the hill towards the KTM corner and the hay shed.
Just having a look now to see, is that still got Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch in this group as well. In fact, Jacob Hatch has moved his way up on bike number 99. He's in about 4th position now. He's coming up the inside. He's gone into 2nd position, Braxy. He was worried that he didn't get on the podium in the Blue Crew Junior Cup. I reckon a podium in this would make up for all of that disappointment.
Oh, I'll tell you, yes. I was just waiting for him to... Hunter Ford swept across the front of it as he was coming dive bombing under brakes, and he could see the front end bouncing a bit as he tried to hold it up on bike number 99, Jake Hatch. And here we go. The last lap of this intense YMF R3 Cup is about to commence. I don't want to go to the podium just yet, Phil.
It's going to be 4.45 kilometres of absolute lottery as Hunter Ford comes across the line in the lead. His lead was 0.3 of a second. I reckon that will have disappeared by the time they get towards turn 1. It pretty much has, as Lockie Taylor leads the charge on Hunter Ford's race lead at the moment as they come through turn 1, the YMF corner, and round now through Suzuki. It is still Hunter Ford just keeping the throttle pinned to the absolute last minute, but it's the man that you predicted, Lockie Taylor, to keep your eye on. He's running the charge now in 2nd with Littrus in 3rd.
Yeah, it's very intense at the moment, and even a couple of them. Brandon Demery's in a good position too, and Laura Brown, if she can tag on to talk about tag on. She nearly got tagged herself as they went through the Kawasaki dip.
So down into turn 4 for the last time. Lots of pogo sticks out there, Braxy, as they all go bouncing up and down into a turn 4. I think it's Jacob Hatch that's back up into a 2nd position. No, it's Lockie Taylor in 2nd position. They've both got the fluoro orange wheels that threw me off. Maxie Stouffer's got the fluoro orange wheels as well. He's back there in 4th position.
Oh, Hunter Ford nearly ran off the track there on the exit of turn number 6.
He was trying to get an early seat in the grandstand for the Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time, but he's still managing to hold the lead down. Has Hunter Ford done enough to take the victory in the final Yamaha R3 Cup race of the day? He leads the championship by 6 points. He desperately wants 25 more to add to that as they come across the top of Lukey Heights for the last time and down in towards Pirelli corner turn 10. Hunter Ford manages to hold them all out, but it's Maxie Stouffer that's positioned himself into 2nd position. Is he close enough to get the slipstream as they come through turn 11 and turn 12? There'll be no sitting up now from Maxie Stouffer as he drives hard towards the back of Hunter Ford's machine through turn 12 for the final time. Here comes Stouffer. Lockie Taylor in his slipstream as well as they come out onto the start-finish straight. Has Stouffer timed this one to perfection as he pulls into the slipstream of Hunter Ford as they come down to the line. Hunter Ford may just be able to hold them out. Stouffer will take 2nd place, and Johnny Littrus should get 3rd place on board bike number 308, just ahead of Lockie Taylor on 151, and Laura Brown once again just missing out on the podium by literally 10ths of a second, finishing in 5th position ahead of Brandon Demery. Reece Orchard in 7th. Jacob Hatch got dudded on the run to the line, will finish in 8th position. Benny Baker in 9th. That group were covered by 1.2 seconds as they came to the line, the top 9. The next rider through, Matty Rindell, some 15 seconds behind that group, comes across the line to complete the top 10. But congratulations to Hunter Ford, extends the championship lead. Maxie Stouffer closes up more points on Johnny Littrus, who finished in 3rd place, and we are heading for an exciting finale at Sydney Motorsport Park in 1 month's time for the Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. Well, get race safe down here. We need some oxygen in the commentary position after that race. Confirmation of your results. Hunter Ford from Max Stouffer and Johnny Littrus, 0.27 of a second, covering the podium positions as they came across the line. Lockie Taylor, so close to the podium in 4th position on board bike number 151. Laura Brown, once again, it's been an unbelievable return for her on board the Warwick Nowland Racing Yamaha R3 in 5th. Brandon Demery in 6th. Reece Orchard, Jacob Hatch, Benny Baker and Matt Rindell round out the top 10. Archie McDonald in 11th, Ryan Smith in 12th, Zach Pettendy in 13th, Patrick Bognar in 14th, Steph James in 15th, Ryan Moscardini, Dominic Fletcher and Hunter Diplock round out the 18 finishes for YMF R3 Cup. Final race of spokes.com.au presents round 6. So congratulations to Hunter Ford. Another victory for him this weekend. He, of course, won race number 2. Lockie Taylor won race number 1 earlier on in the weekend. But Hunter Ford will extend that championship lead now over Littrus and Stouffer. 25 more points to add to his 206. And Max Stouffer, who was 7 points behind Johnny Littrus, will pull back another 2 points in that, so that will make it 5 points the difference between Littris and Stouffer in the battle for second in the championship. Brendan Demery is fourth in the championship. He'll lose a couple of points to the leaders, but he will be strong at Sydney Motorsport Park, as he has proven in the past. Round points should see Hunter Ford take the win from Max Stouffer and Lockie Taylor. And the series points has those same three up towards the three of those riders, Hunter Ford, Johnny Littris and Max Stouffer, top three in the championship. Well, the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit looking absolutely magnificent. One of the finest racetracks anywhere in the world. Has seen some great racing action here this weekend. Time to hear from our top three in Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup. There with Braxy.
Well, down here we on Parc Ferme and the podium for the presentation of the final leg of the YMF R3 Cup and the round win. And Johnny Littris third on the race. You must be pretty happy with that. You led the championship momentarily yesterday, but at least you've got a lap record to take away from this, and you're sitting in a really good position in the championship with 1 round to go.
Yeah, thanks, Brex. It was good on all the boys for the great competition. It was a great weekend. I couldn't thank all the people that helped me out, and yeah, it was awesome.
How was this last race? Like you're sitting up towards the end of the lap as if you don't want to be leading across the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's hard. You don't know if you can make a break, or you just don't know. It's hard to pick it. Yeah.
All right, all the best, and we'll see you at Sydney Motorsport Park in a month's time. Well done, Johnny Littris.
Thank you.
No worries. As we move on to second position, you didn't crack a win this weekend, Maxie, but you're still you're closer in this championship than when you came into this round, even though you missed out on a few on the Supersport 300. So all in all, you must be pretty happy over with the 6 races that you had.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about the Supersport, but it is what it is. I tried my hardest. My R3 Cup, yeah, I should have won, I guess, but I tried.
I've got to ask you about that, because we and Phil Harlan were giggling ourselves like a couple of school kids as you were coming onto the straight, and you were sitting up all the time as if to say, I'm not going to have a dip at this, I'm just going to sit here and bide my time. Yeah, well, until the last lap, obviously.
Yeah, well, it's hard with the slipstream. You got to time it to perfection, and all the boys have seemed to perfected it, so it's quite hard to win.
And well done, mate. And on behalf of everyone, well done on what you did overseas a couple of weeks ago as well, and all the best for next month in Eastern Creek and for the rest of the year.
Thank you.
No worries, Max Stouffer. And now our round winner and race winner as well, who's regained the championship lead and extended it again as he goes for another 2 in a row. Hunter Ford, well done. And you rode it to perfection, but every lap you're in the right position all through different corners. While they might have swamped you in turn 1, you had an answer for them.
Yeah, I kind of just had my own little plan set up that if I led the last lap, I could win the race. So I just went for it every race.
And now you're getting the grips with this new model of the 2019 one. That it's probably like buying a new pair of jeans. You like the old one, but you've got to get into the new ones and figure out what it's about.
Yeah, actually had to get Old Faithful out for the last round at Winton because they couldn't quite get the new one set up and going properly, but got it set up now and it's going a heap better.
All right, mate, all the best and congratulations on another fine couple of wins and a round win as well. Well done, Hunter Ford.
Thanks, Braxy.
No worries, and that brings us to a close of the racing on board action. It's been a great weekend here. I've had a ball here doing it with these kids. Some great racing here. Back to you, Phil, and thanks for the co-commentary.
Thanks very much, Braxy. Great to hear from the top 3 down there. Congratulations to Hunter Ford, race winner and round winner in the Yamaha R3 Cup. And Max Stouffer and also Johnny Littris for their final event on the podium this weekend. Well, as we mentioned, final round of the championship coming up at Sydney Motorsport Park. Only about 1 month away. And surely will be a very exciting round with all of the championships, bar Motorsport TV, Supersport, to wrap up at Sydney Motorsport Park. Time to hear from Emma for final thoughts on this weekend.
Final thoughts. Wow, what a huge weekend, Phil. A great day of racing. Thank you very much to you, to Braxy, Dave, Steve as well, for great commentary across the weekend. Looking forward to that final round. It's not too far away. asbk.com.au is where you can find all the information. We hope to see you down at Sydney Motorsport Park from the 1st to the 3rd of November. Thank you everyone at home for watching. Look forward to seeing you in just a month's time as we wrap up the championship. Bye for now.